Well, this Thanksgiving, while we were all eating hot turkey, Paige was going cold turkey on her relationship with Craig. Oh, I'm so
Oh my
sorry.
God.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I accidentally pressed this laughing
We haven't used the
button.
soundboard in a long time.
What the hell was that? Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
I always say I want to do more goofy sounds, but I think it would really get out of hand quickly.
I think so too. I don't think I should have access to any of these because there was a drum roll that I could have used as well. Does that happen after or before a joke?
Drum roll is before.
You say drum roll and then you make a joke, or is it
I don't think it's usually for a joke. It's for like anticipation to a impressive feat
Oh, I was thinking the badump bump, like
or an announcement.
yeah, Paige was going cold turkey on her relationship.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to use those very often. I just I thought that I wasn't sure how that intro would land, but it seems okay, right?
Yeah. Paige has been busy setting the record straight. It sounds like she's pissed at Craig at this point.
Yeah, I'm proud of her. I'm saying it up front. I'm proud of her. I think the world and the internet, we started to have a little bit of fun. A lot of like investigation, thinking about cheating, reporting on stuff, randomly. And I liked that she used Giggly Squad to first set the record straight the first time about what happened and then do this again once it started to get out of hand. Did you listen to the clip?
I think I did. I saw that she put the timeline out. She goes, "We broke up Thanksgiving weekend," which answers our question because I was like, she said it was a while ago, but then people were like, "Well, they were together Thanksgiving, so it couldn't have been then." But it sounds like they got together Thanksgiving, and she was like, "Oh." It sounds like she maybe. Well, she didn't say if she broke up with him, but they broke up that weekend.
I think she broke up with him. Oh, I didn't even think to look at where they were, that it was when they were together. I wonder if there are posts from that Thanksgiving where you could see like Craig in the background and he's looking like completely bummed out on that weekend. Can you believe that when we were having Thanksgiving dinners separately, that was happening in the universe?
She was going cold turkey.
That she was going cold turkey. So for me, once you get that timeline, it really paints a picture. I mean, it really connects a lot of the dots. And then the oddest thing to me was, well, first of all, she said there was no cheating before. She was like, shut up, everyone. She goes, stop it. There was no cheating, not even one whiff of cheating, which I believe Paige. I never even thought that she was cheating on Craig. So then Craig said, for the love of God, it's the holidays. Please, please don't make me tell anyone that we're broken up. I've got so much press to do for Southern Charm. It's Christmas. This is the biggest season for selling shit at Sewing Down South. Give me a full month, or no timeline, open-ended. And then he did all of his press as if they were still in a relationship. I saw interviews where he was talking about being in a relationship with her on Watch What Happens Live. He was not in a relationship.
Yeah, it really lends credence to the fact that he's very comfortable lying.
It was shocking. I mean, the one interview I saw, I think it was Virtual Reality. I finally remembered where I saw something, so I want to give them a shout out. They go, well, damn, Craig was lying like through his teeth in his interview with us when he was talking about how him and Paige get through the holidays and being long distance and stuff. And then the thing I kept saying where Craig, I was like, oh, for sure they're still in a relationship. I Watch What Happens Live, is when he was taking a photo of Paige in the hallway of Watch What Happens Live, and he goes, oh, I'm going to send this to her. She's going to think this is so cute. She's a one name icon or whatever. And I was like, whoa, that is so wild in retrospect to be like, you're not in a relationship with her.
Yeah, I've seen mixed commentary online. Some people are like, that's so sad. He definitely thought they were getting back together. Like, I feel so bad for him. And other people are like, what the fuck? He's like a psycho.
Yeah. I fall in between. I don't think full-blown psychotic breakdown. I also don't think it's so sad that he thought that they were getting back together. I just think it's an odd choice to let the PR and all of that stuff to fake something through everything and have to lie because you don't want to face the truth. It just makes you kind of look like you're untrustworthy. You did all this shit knowing what the truth is, and now we can all scour those interviews and be like, what the hell were you doing?
Right.
but with him, he's so business brained, as we've been talking about, and PR minded, and he just didn't want to face that truth in every single interview. But he took too long. And then Paige said that by Christmas, he looked like he was a single man at Christmas, which I don't remember any of his social media. But she was like, well, you're presenting as single, and you haven't, told anyone the truth. So I am going to finally say this on December 30th that we are broken up.
And she said he didn't respond.
Whoa. Yeah.
But like thinking about it, how do you handle it then? Like, what would have been the better way? Like, should he have canceled his interviews? Should he have said, I don't want to talk about Paige? Or did he just have to use that press tour to announce that they broke up?
He should have used the press tour to announce that they're broken up. It's so much more, such a bigger deal, and all of those press outlets to tell the truth of what was going on. I think he should have said, I need to collect myself for like 2 days before we make this public. I'm like really upset, and I have to recalculate how I'm going to maneuver through all of these huge events for Southern Charm. But the worst possible outcome is to just lie and pretend you're still in a relationship during all of those interviews, in my opinion.
Sucks for him. Like, she's like, haha, my show doesn't come out until February.
Totally. So it was interesting. And then Paige said, I'm single, I'm not in a relationship, so please, shut up about that. With her possibly going on dates with this other person, I believe that she is technically still single, so I think that she has the right to say, obviously, that she's single, even if people are saying, oh my God, she's been with that same guy over and over again 5 times or whatever. Like, she still gets to say that she's single. Yeah.
It looks like this week on Southern Charm, I saw a clip of them fighting again about, like, she was pissed that Austin asked about if they were going to have kids, and she was saying how, like, of course that's my decision because I'm the one that has to carry the baby or whatever. And he's like, I don't even, he's like, I don't ask anything of you. Like, I just, like, he's like, I'm cool with what we're doing or whatever. And so it just kind of it was giving irreconcilable differences watching it, because you're just like, you're kind of just having the same conversation like for eternity about what your future holds. And eventually I was cool with it for like a very long time, but it is like, if it comes up that often, that means that you're not actually cool with it happens when it happens. You know what I mean? Like, if you actually don't care about the timeline, then like you won't talk about it so much. You'll be like, whatever.
Right. Like you would. Yeah, true. He would have gotten over it. Yeah. And I always thought that those little riffs were just them kind of just, teasing the audience that like we still have a little bit of trouble, but we're solid as a rock. And I was wrong as hell that whole time. And now every fight they have, means so much more. But it was good. I feel like that's sort of the definitive end to all speculation and questions, unless Craig goes, that's not what happened. She got drunk at Thanksgiving and started,
She kicked the dog.
She kicked a dog, and the turkey came out of the oven and she dropped it on the ground. But I think that he's not going to. Paige is so much better at media stuff, and so I don't think that Craig is going to ever offer a rebuttal. I think he's done, and he'll probably just tell his side of the story when we see it on Southern Charm. But it makes sense to me.
Yep, R.I.P.
Goodbye, you two wonderful people. Amy and I loved your relationship. We talked about it for 2 years, but it's officially over, and I don't think there's any coming back for you both. Time to move on, I think, right?
Dead as a doornail.
It's dead. But I think that Craig shouldn't go scorched earth like he's doing. He's actually behaving very much like a normal human. Like, he's behaving like how I would behave if I had my heart broken, and like a non-celebrity. He's really like hurt. You can tell he's blocking people, blocking Kyle and Amanda. He immediately went on Raya. It's kind of like endearing in a way that he's having the exact same reaction to a breakup that anybody would have, an average person would have.
You sent me a video of him doing like sewing down south Spawn. Like, he was like, this weekend 20% off, and you can just tell he's like dead inside.
It was so sad. He didn't want to break up with Paige. He built his life and the future of his life around Paige. He loved every advice she gave him. He wrote off all of his friends for her. He probably wanted a Paige and Craig spinoff.
Yeah.
It's so it devastated him, and I understand that he couldn't. He didn't know what to do because he put so much of his life into Paige. But we'll see. What the future is for him. He'll. Of course, we know that he'll be happy again. We've all gone through breakups, right?
He'll be just fine.
He'll be just fine. That was it for the huge, big news. But then I had one other thing. This popped out of nowhere. I was stunned beyond belief. I was watching Beverly Hills, and then all of a sudden I saw Denise Richards pop up on my screen. And I go, what the hell's Denise Richards doing? And it looks like Denise has a full-blown spinoff dedicated to her called Denise Richards and Her Wild Things, right?
So it is kind of random.
Yeah, she's never a person, a friend of, or a person in the Bravo universe tangentially that I would ever think would get a Bravo spinoff. That seems so much like a Peacock exclusive or something that E would have gotten. For all of the spinoffs that Bravo has turned down, like Stassi spinoff and whatever the hell else that went straight to Peacock, the fact that got booted right up to Bravo is really odd. I didn't think that people loved Denise Richards that much.
I know. I was thinking, she had a show on E like literally 15 years ago or something, like a million years ago. I think it was called like It's Complicated or something like that. Like, and I remember it had like.
Is that a reference to something?
I don't know. It might be about like her relationship with Charlie Sheen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was rough.
Because it was like peak, like winning era, I think.
Yeah.
And I watched it back then because I used to watch literally any reality show that was on for 10 years, but it felt like one of those shows where I'm like, does anyone else on planet Earth watch this? And it was kind of about, I think she lived in like Calabasas and had a little bit of a farm, and like her dad lived with her, and it was very much like the hustle and bustle of like a big family and like just shenanigans. So yeah, it doesn't give Bravo really, or at least not current day Bravo.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, everyone's in it too. It was like showing Sutton and Camille. They were referencing You're Such a Fucking Liar, Camille. Like, it's built for the Beverly Hills audience, which I just did not know. Like, I personally did not enjoy Denise Richards that much as a friend of it. More of like a oddball sensibility or whatever. She just seemed completely out of it. So I wasn't expecting that at all. But I am very excited. I think this is why the show got greenlit. I'm excited to see what Denise Richards' husband is up to now, because whenever I saw him last in 2016 or 2017, shit had barely even gotten started in terms of the conspiracy theories that he was going after. I can't imagine what he's like post-COVID and in current days, post-QAnon. I mean, he was basically tinfoil hat already 5 years ago.
Isn't he getting sued?
I'm not sure. I just remember he said, I know the cure for cancer. It's all about the minerals in the soil. I remember the wildest thing I've ever seen in Bravo history was when Denise and him were driving around on Beverly Hills on camera, and he was saying, T.I., I'm a targeted individual. We've got people following us. He literally thought that him and Denise Richards were targeted individuals being followed by the same car over and over again, which
I'm obsessed.
Yeah, so I like that part.
I saw this a little while ago. Denise Richards' husband, Aaron, sued for alleged fraud involving treatment at his Malibu Wellness Center.
It makes sense. You could just imagine it. He was probably like, this jewel, this emerald, you put it on your heart for 10 seconds and it cures cancer. And someone was like, no, I still died of it. It's like, he was so bad.
I'm suing you, I died.
He was giving horrible medical advice. He's one of those people that thinks that they know the cure for cancer, but they're just, the doctors want to keep letting people have it for a while, which, there's some little turtle cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs who I'm sure believe that. But yeah, I can imagine that he was sued completely for medical misinformation at a spa.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to check it out.
Yeah, and then we didn't talk about this, but I'm so excited for the, did we talk about this? I'm so excited for the Baldwins on TLC.
Oh my God. Does that have a premiere date?
I don't know. I hope we get to go to the premiere. I hope we can just say, yeah, we cover Bravo sometimes, but we love TLC
Would
so
you fly
much.
for that?
Oh my, are you fucking kidding? Alec Baldwin, whatever the hell his wife's name is, all of their children.
Hilaria.
Yeah. Hilaria. I just love it. And I love that they, for some reason, they captured lightning in a bottle, or, a nightmare in a bottle by
Right.
him being post Rust and having to
Yeah.
reckon with that whole shit on camera for TLC. It seems like he signed the deal being like, this is my family. Isn't it crazy? I'm barely going to be on it like Kelsey Grammer. But then it's like,
Yeah.
no, this is going to be my outlet to show the world
Yeah.
how I'm dealing with the post Rust aftermath.
February 23rd.
Oh man, please, everyone who listens to Turtle Time, if you have some TLC connection, please let Amy and I go to that. We will cover that show for its entire run, for sure.
I used to have such a TLC era. I watched all that shit. Like
Me too.
John and K plus A, Little People Big World, Say Yes to the Dress.
Oh, I was so entrenched in 90 Day Fiance. I just I went to a family member's house during the fires, and she was still very entrenched in 90 Day Fiance. So I get to catch up in the future of like 5 years later, and it was still just as good. I mean, it was ripping.
Yeah, it's so overwhelming and like all consuming. It's hard to keep up with, but yeah, for a while I watched Darcy and Stacey's spinoff. I'm sure that's probably still on. I could probably hop back in there.
It'll be so cool when they start doing TLC crossovers where Darcy and Stacey go to the Baldwin's house, and they're like, let us take care of your kids for a little bit.
Yeah, they're like, let us do your eyebrows or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Of course they would do something like that. So that was it for me. Any other news you wanted to bring up?
I don't think so. We were considering, we had a friend ask us if we were going to listen to Carl on the Vile Files. And I think we both decided it would be too upsetting.
Yeah, I'll just be honest. Amy and I definitely were thinking we could get that exclusive Carl interview. And I think obviously Vial
We tried
Files,
really hard.
Vial's got a bigger audience, you could subjectively say, so I sort of understand why it makes sense for Carl to go on, but I was just too disheartened. And I also didn't like that, whatever Nick Vial was like, I felt like he was sort of on Lindsay's side because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He doesn't watch any of this shit. So he was like pro Lindsay by default. We were probably the only podcast that was pro Carl consistently. So now he's like, Carl has to come in and vouch for himself. Will we forgive him? It's like, it pisses me off. But I wonder how Nick, I don't want to talk about that show too much, but I wonder how he's doing on that Vanderpump Rules rewatch that he was doing. I remember the last time I checked in, he was on season 2, episode 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember the last time I listened. I think the last clip I saw was when Vicky Hot Mike talked shit about Nick Vial, which I enjoyed.
Oh, right. She goes, who the hell is this? And they included that in the edit. This is so funny. Yeah. Oh, I have to give them credit, though. I did like when Nick Vial was the earliest one on the James Kennedy when he goes, I don't know anything about this guy, but he was treating his friend like utter shit, and he was drunk as hell, and he seems like a complete dickhead. Yeah. That actually, he had some real foresight there by not being deferential to James. So I give him credit there. But, Carl, If Nick didn't wring out all of the salacious juice from you in that 2-hour interview, please come on Turtle Time. We'll ask you the best softball questions you've ever had in your life, and we'll barely even get to the bottom of anything.
I'll ask you if you've seen Conclave.
Yeah, I mean, Carl, this thing is softball center. You come here, instant easy layups. Hey, Carl, we like you so much. How have you been?
How's your business? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so if you didn't get all your juice wrung out, come over to Turtle Time. But, and then I wanted to say, lastly, before we dive into Potomac, I want to say Turtle Time thoughts go out to Marcus Jordan. Marcus Jordan, I watched him on Miami. I watched him on Traders. He was Larsa's wonderful boyfriend. They had a beautiful love. I really liked what I saw on camera of Marcus Jordan. I mean, he definitely wanted to be on reality television, but I liked him. But he seems to be in a world of hurt. First, he was snorting big lines of coke on a yacht. People saw that. And then he, unfortunately, unfortunately just crashed his car or was driving drunk as hell, and they found cocaine in his pocket, and he was, belligerent and being horrible. And I just hope that Marcus Jordan can get help. It sounds like he's got a major, problem that he's working on, and I just want to send positive thoughts to him because I really liked him.
Damn, Papa Michael needs to step in.
I know. I think Michael, I don't know how good their relationship is, but when he did get arrested, he said, "Do you know who I am? I'm Michael Jordan's son." And he also requested to listen to Mariah Carey Christmas music in the car.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It was awesome. He was very fun and cool when he got picked up. But I wish the best for him. And I just think that there's too much drinking and driving on Bravo. Like, hey, this is an open alert warning. Like, no one in the Bravo world should be drinking and driving ever again. Everyone knows this, but like, it's like, this is the third one in the Bravo universe that we're dealing with in 1 year. Yeah. So you gotta nip that shit in the bud. It's horrible.
Call a car.
Call a car. Call a car. But anyway, that was just the Marcus Jordan minute. Now, let's talk about if you are fine to move on. Do you want to talk about last week and this week's Potomac?
Yes.
Now, I remember I teased you. I was teasing you in the moment because we didn't talk about Potomac, but I was trying to give my best, hype you up on what was coming, and I was so excited. Now you've watched last week's and the finale. How do you feel about the Potomac era that we're in?
They were fun. I watched them back to back, so honestly, they kind of blurred together for me. But I enjoyed Ashley's performance. I was kind of like, I guess I'm not particularly educated in the world of drag kings. I've seen plenty of drag queens, but I was shocked when she took her top off and had her boobs with the pasties, because I was like, that felt to the antithesis of performing as a drag king. Oh. But she kind of spiced it up.
I just imagined that they weren't there, and it was like a man taking his top off. I didn't. But, you're saying that
they, meaning her boobs.
Yeah. I just kept thinking she was still her drag king Ashton character, so it didn't blow my mind. But I felt like I got the gist of the performance pretty well. I
felt I felt feelings about Uncle Lump being there to watch.
Yeah, that was the one drawback, is Uncle Lump. Unfortunately, he had to be like, oh my gosh, I'm pretty close to seeing Ashley's breast. But she did have, I think, overalls on, or
Yeah, I think she did take the overalls off, and then they were just pasties, but then she put the overalls back on.
Yeah. So it starts out, last week's Potomac, I just thought that everything about that performance was so fun. We've seen horrible performances on Bravo, and they've given Ashley shitty edits when she sings, and a bad performance in the Bravo universe. This was the exact opposite for me. They edited it so fun. The music was good. The lights, that green light, and then Ashley was so into it. Her dancing, every move she made, it was a complete like a Bruno Mars / Charlie Chaplin-esque character. And I loved that on Potomac, typically Karen and Giselle are, and all of them are so quick to judge if they think it's shitty. They'd be the first ones to be like, that was absolute shit. But they all loved it. Unanimously, they all supported Ashley and said she fucking rocked the hell out of that thing. And they were all like, I'm attracted to Ashley. She's sexy as hell. That whole shit was so fun to me.
Yeah. It did feel like they remixed it in a way where you couldn't quite tell what the actual performance looked like. You couldn't hear what the real music was, and it was sort of like the camera and the lights that they added and showing people's reactions. You couldn't get a real grasp of what the true show was, but it's okay.
Yeah. For me, I was just looking at as if the edit was what she did. But I totally get what you're saying. We don't know what the reality, if it actually looked like utter shit and they were speeding it up or whatever. But I just mean that they gave Ashley the full deference of this was a great performance. And it seemed like it was good in the moment just based off all of their reactions. Yes. So that was fun. And then the huge pivotal thing that happens in last week's episode that pays off in the finale is that Mia is getting everyone is talking about the accusations that they learned from Gordon, that Mia knew the paternity of her child, that Gordon is not mentally unstable, the kids and ink thing, like that Mia's just been lying. And Karen and Giselle really went at Mia. And Stacy, who is behaving like a real person, not like someone on a show, is like, where the hell is this coming from? You all just brought Mia outside at Ashley's beautiful drag king performance, and you're just going in on her, attacking her. I can't stand this. I don't like this, which I feel like is the reaction of most people if you're not on a show. She doesn't say, I completely defer to Mia in every way, and I love her, and I don't think she's lying about anything. She did not like how Karen and Giselle handled this whole thing. And then Karen uses that to be like, Stacy has betrayed me. She's team Mia. She hates me. So now I am going scorched earth on her. I am going to hate her for the rest of the season. And so that plays into how they deal with each other in the finale. So it was a huge pivotal moment there.
Yeah. And Wendy from the start of this conversation is sort of like not understanding Stacy's stance, so you can tell that she's not going to be agreeing with her necessarily.
Because Wendy also is showing deference to Karen this entire season, which we'll learn there's multiple instances of that. She thought that Karen was her ride or die this season, so she wanted to make a bigger deal of Stacy betraying Karen as well. But then Wendy quickly backs off that and is not very full-throated against Stacy again once that new evidence comes to light. There was the Kay and Greg scene, which was kind of just sad. You don't see a relationship that is just horrendous like that, where Greg has these very odd like issues with masculinity and gender roles, and he's not supportive of her. He also doesn't listen to her. She's trying to articulate her feelings to him. He's just basically brushing her off completely. And it goes over so badly that by the finale, they are like barely hanging on. Like he doesn't even go there to support her.
Yeah, he talks to her like shit. He tells her to like calm the fuck down. She tells him that she wants to feel safe with him and that he can be dismissive to her needs. And he goes, I haven't dismissed your feelings. I've never been dismissive. I never dismiss. And I'm like, well, you just did.
Yeah, you are actively doing that now. He's also so rude whenever she brings stuff up on camera. You can just see that she's trying to be like, Greg, please have conversations with me. This is how I keep the what's the Potomac? This is how I keep my standing on the show.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I don't want to talk about that. But then once they get to the dinner, he's okay having that conversation. I'm not sure what his rules are for what he wants to portray, on the show, but he's just clearly really uncomfortable. He hates the show, and he's now detrimental to Kay's progress on this show as a cast member.
Yeah, all the women are like, girl, you cannot, dim your light for him. I think everyone has experienced something similar or, knows that it causes problems in relationships. Did you notice that when she was at that restaurant with him, for some reason, they cut away to his sandals?
I did. I did. And they also do another close-up that I want to talk about in the finale that I didn't understand. But yeah, they just wanted to show us that Greg wore sandals to that restaurant. Not 100% sure why. Kay is really on the cusp for me of if Bravo would want to keep her another season. I really like her, but I do think that the relationship with Greg is holding her back in a way. Yeah. So I would love to see what she was like post Greg for another season, because I don't want her trajectory on this show to be fucked up by him and what he was doing. So I kind of feel bad for Kay, because she wants to be on this show so bad. She talks about it,
Totally. Yeah. If she ends the relationship because it was hindering the show, then they have to keep her on.
Yeah, no, I think so too. There was a little bit of Mia and Ink stuff where things do not seem very good. It doesn't really amount to anything, except we just know that apparently, I don't know if we can trust anything that Mia says, but Mia says that her and Ink are no longer dating anymore. And you see this fight that they had like on the way to the airport, and it just did not seem good. Like they were in a good place at all.
Yeah. Ink says that Gordon texted him about the paternity results, and Ink is saying he doesn't believe that he even actually took the test. And Mia's like, well, I did get an email, but, who knows?
Mia was basically like, I mean, no, it's true. It's his son. Like, so he's like, she's like, Ink, you don't need to pretend anymore that this is your son. Ink seems to be on a completely different page than her. He still wants to pretend this could be his child.
Yes. Okay, so then they go shopping at that same little fashion boutique, Vivian's, that they've been to before, because Stacy's doing this hound fashion show.
It's so cool.
And Karen refused to go shopping with them because she texted Stacy saying, due to your comments and actions at Ashley's event, I will not be attending. So she's pissed, officially.
And Stacy does not understand this. Stacy is playing this whole thing real in my mind. She's like, what did I really do to Karen that would make her refuse to go to a charity event for me? Like, how is it that serious? She doesn't understand how Karen operates in this environment. I also like that we learned that Vivian has more history. Stacy has more history with Vivian than she does with Karen. And Vivian loves Stacy, obviously. So they have this like friend in common.
Yeah. Everyone is trying to Giselle joins, and she's like, they're all telling her that Karen's also pissed because Stacy didn't ask permission to film this scene with who Karen believes to be her friend. And Stacy's like, I've known Vivian longer than I've known Karen. So fuck that.
Yeah, it's so lame. It's so lame. Giselle basically is riding for Karen, and also is pushing back on Stacy. I think she thinks that Stacy's getting too powerful or something, having this huge scene or whatever. So she tries to discount everything that Stacy does, and Stacy's kind of just like, "What the hell are you talking about? I need to consult with Karen before I talk to my friend about hosting an event with her." It just makes no sense.
Yeah. So you can tell the tide is starting to turn because everyone's starting to poke holes, and Giselle is like, I'm actually Karen's not going to walk in the show, and actually I'm not going to walk either. She's like, you didn't even ask if we wanted to. What if I was allergic to dogs? What if I had been bitten by a dog and had PTSD? And she admits that she lies about having been bit by a dog at one point.
Yeah. So you see how Karen and Giselle bully a cast member they don't think is falling in line or crosses some line with them. This is how they act, but they can barely get it off because the concepts they're introducing make no sense. Stacy actually has a real relationship with Vivian. There's nothing fake about her wanting to throw this party and do this with Vivian. So Giselle kind of just looks, in my opinion, really lame for trying to block Stacy in this endeavor.
Yeah, she goes, I didn't even know you were into charities because you didn't donate to mine. And Stacy's like, you threw me out.
Yeah.
Which
right.
I'm like, that feels like a million years ago to me.
Totally. Yeah, it does. We find out, which we'll talk about, that Dr. Wendy is filming at the White House. She's got a huge interview, and so we'll see that in the finale. And then lastly, this was my favorite scene because I was like, oh no, the narrative is getting away with Stacy. From Stacy. I was like, God damn it. Karen and Giselle are going to try to isolate Stacy, get the whole cast to rally around them and their version of reality and box Stacy out. And most people would probably just defer to Karen and Giselle or Wendy if she flipped and just make Stacy feel like shit and try to isolate her. But instead, Stacy has this, ace up her sleeve where Karen downloaded her before the show and was talking shit about Mia and Wendy specifically. She said Mia is not Potomac. Mia does not embody the aesthetic of Potomac, which means that, and that makes sense. Karen hates Mia, thinks that she's whatever, a liar, does not like her.
I love that Mia, when she hears that, she goes, is it Potomac to be a drunk swinging on bar stools to crash your car into trees? And I was like, swinging on bar stools? I feel like that's a very a Riley-ism.
Oh, I know. I thought she meant she gets drunk and starts spinning on bar stools.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it just brings my mind to imagining Karen going, wee, wee, wee.
With a
I'm
lampshade on her.
wee, wee. I'm drunk. I no offense to Karen, but this is very offensive, but she was definitely spinning on a bar stool right before she got in her car and crashed into a fence.
Still dizzy.
She was dizzy as hell. So Mia definitely painted a picture there. And then a new fact that you wouldn't think is possibly true is Karen goes, and don't fuck with Wendy either. Wendy is so self-absorbed. She's not a girl's girl. She'll never ride for you. So stay away from Wendy. And then that is just it cuts this fake friendship that Karen has been working on with Wendy, because that's how she feels about Wendy truly. So it was amazing for Stacey to get revenge on Karen. I mean, that's a very powerful first time cast member move, I thought.
Totally. It is like, I'm wondering, I'm kind of like getting in my head about Housewives lately, and I'm like, is this a dumb question? I don't know, but in the weeds, but I feel like over the years it's gotten more and more into the strategy. Mm-hmm. I guess it was harder for women to play that at the beginning because they didn't know what the hell was going on. So the early seasons are all very sort of like chaotic and like random and not super organized, because they were just like, what do I do? And then as the years go on, I feel like we're at like a tipping point almost where it's becoming like the Traitors, where it's like the like meetings, like secret meetings, like Beverly Hills, where they're like, she invited 3 of us and she's going to tell us this and I'm going to spread this. And like, it's like too much.
I agree. And if it was the only thing that was going on, I'd be so bummed out. I don't mind if it's 20% of it. And for me, Stacey's move didn't seem so calculated, where I was like, secret meeting to tell the truth.
I mean, she should. Like, that's the name of the game. So like, I'm proud that she decided to play that card as a newbie. I'm just talking like in general.
I agree.
It's feeling a little much.
I agree. I think that you still have to have 80% of it just being real entertainment from what happens in the reality of every situation. But then sometimes I do like a little peek into the maneuvering behind the scenes of how they work. But then the worst case example of that is when, like on Southern Charm, when they're actively trying to get a cast member fired by not filming with them, which I think they do on OC all the time. Mm-hmm. Like they did it on New York with Barbara, or with the cast member who came in season 4, Cindy. Oh, yeah. They like actively were not filming with her. They're like, fuck you. We're not filming any scene with you, so you get fired. Like, I don't think that it should ever be like that. So, but I agree with you. It's like you can't get to the place where it's only about a trader's game of chess and alliances and loyalties and turning into villains. There was just enough of the counterbalance of entertainment and fun on Potomac to where I liked the strategy of this. And Karen and Giselle try to play a strategy game, and they're the ones who come out looking like dunces because I think all their strategic moves were horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also interesting when there are cast shakeups and, like, you know, it's no longer Giselle and Robin, so she had to scramble to figure out a new angle. Yeah.
But I totally agree with you. I agree with you. I think that there's probably a franchise that we'll talk about where it'll get like that, and we'll talk about it again. I'm just currently, probably Beverly Hills is the closest. But anyway, but I just enjoyed this, and then now we can talk about the finale if you'd like to move on.
Yes. It's called All Bark No Bite.
Yeah, and we know why. When you see that title, you go bark, bite. I think I saw dogs in the trailer. It's like you instantly you know what it's going to be about.
Yes. Karen tells us pretty quickly that she is planning on rescuing 2 puppies that she wants to name Grand and Dom. And she tries to explain it multiple times, where she wants to adopt breeds that should not be bred. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, does she mean like rescuing dogs that are being used to breed, like rescuing them from being breeder dogs? Or is she saying that she wants to rescue dogs that shouldn't be bred and just give them a better life than someone that doesn't understand that they shouldn't be bred?
It was experimentally bred dogs. Like, I was thinking like Dalmatian Chihuahuas, Golden Retrievers with like small or little legs. I think that she was talking about genetically
She called him at one point genetically modified, like GMOs.
I think that those breeds that like some mad scientist concocted in a lab, she wants to be the one to give them a good home, because not everybody wants
when it's a flop outcome.
Yeah, not everybody wants a Doberman's head on a Chihuahua's body.
Okay,
you know,
poor things.
Is that what?
Remember, it was like a chicken.
Oh,
like,
of course.
Like bulldog head or whatever.
That's my example. Willem Dafoe as that. What the hell was going on with Willem Dafoe in that movie? He was a mad scientist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also like that Karen was like, contrary to what you heard last week from Giselle and me, I am going to this event. She's like, she is going to the finale event. She didn't put up a fight at all. She's not walking in the show, and her and Giselle are both, that's their statement. Like, you didn't ask if we would want to handle dogs. That's their protest. But they're still both going because they're not going to miss the finale party. So Stacey won, there.
Yeah. Yeah. Wendy calls Karen to invite her to the White House with her, which I'm like, that's like really nice.
I know. And Wendy does not know that Karen's been just secretly talking shit. And Wendy does the nicest thing for Karen.
That's like, I don't know, like if a friend selects you to go to the White House like once in a lifetime, I mean, not right now, I have to say, but.
Well, all right.
I'm sending Riley to the White House. When we get invited, he can go.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask, if you got invited, I probably wouldn't be your plus one, right? Unless we were going to podcast from there. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like whoever you choose, that's like such an honor position. You know, like that's like the golden ticket. Well,
here's one thing I'll say, which we learn later. I think Karine Jean-Pierre is a huge Potomac fan and loves Karen. And she asked, who's your favorite cast member? And it was Karen.
That's true.
So I do think that they invited Karen because she would be blown away.
What if she's like, I brought Kay? She's like, who?
So I think that is also another reason, but still, no matter what, Karen didn't have to know that. Like, it's still just such a huge honor, and Karen is blown away. I actually thought it was so sweet. Karen is giddy, screaming to the rooftops that she gets to go to the White House. Yeah. I thought that was a really sweet moment, so it makes it even worse when we find out that she's been talking shit about Wendy the whole season, or right before the season.
Yeah. I was also thinking, I'm kind of shocked that Bravo isn't like red listed from the White House because of the DC housewives.
I've never seen it still, so I have to take your word for it, but they got into like an exclusive party, right?
You know what you should do for your flight anxiety? It helped me so much on my last trip. Download everything you've ever wanted to watch on Peacock on your iPad. Okay. And then you can watch it on the flight, and like that you have those little comfort nuggets to like tune into if you're like feeling anxious.
Is DC one season?
Yes, maybe two.
Okay.
It might be one. It might just be one.
I mean, I do love, I would love that, like the political side of things. And I do want to see them sneak into that party.
There's some like kooky stuff. I was very entertained when I watched it a few months ago.
That'll stop me from my, the horrible fear of death I have while I'm flying if I'm just watching that wonderful episode of DC. Next season, this is kind of odd to me. Stacey has a new best friend that enters at the finale, and he comes in kind of immediately, he's got a lot of strong takes, and especially about TJ, but it doesn't seem like he's ever met him. Right? Yeah, like they don't even know who each other is.
Yeah, I feel like it was giving he had been watching the season the same as us or something.
Yeah, but like, have they been giving him the
dailies?
the what is that called? Yeah, the dailies of it. Like, he was so emphatically against, and I'm like, hey, I'm against TJ too, but like, you don't know him. It sounded like he was a protective best friend who just like absolutely hated the look of TJ. Yeah. Maybe he saw all of his social media.
Realize that I feel like a standard sidekick of the housewives was always sort of like a sassy friend, and I was like, actually, I'm loving this energy. He's like, who is this guy? He's like, is he wealthy? And she goes, he's an actor. And he's like, oh God, no.
Yeah, I wanted to get to know him first before he started like seeming like he was really jealous of Stacey's relationship, and like kind of telling us how much shared history they have. Like, as a viewer, I have no clue who this is, and he was giving such strong advice. But I could acclimate to this. It just came out of nowhere all of a sudden. And then TJ calls, and he tries to hi-hat him, AJ. AJ tries to go, oh, what's going on, Jay? Oh, TJ. And I was thinking, your name's AJ. It's very similar to TJ, and you're trying to do the swap of the letters on him. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, of all names for him to have.
Yeah. JT got really mad, though. Like, to a degree that was strange.
But I agree. And I hate to defend TJ because I'm going to talk shit about him for the rest of the episode. But he instantly knew that guy was trying to disrespect him, and he was right. So he immediately had to push back, be like, oh, you're already getting my name wrong. Like, if I was a horrible, shitty boyfriend like TJ and I went on a FaceTime with my girlfriend and then the friend was like making fun of me and stuff, like I could imagine being in TJ's position where I'd be like, please treat me respectfully. You just are meeting me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he hung up and he was like, he's giving cornball.
It's giving cornball. And then I thought for sure they were going to give us the flashback of him making that Bobolini pizza going. It's like, has a flashback ever been more needed in the history of a franchise? But he's like an AI character. And Stacey's like, what the hell do you mean by that? But we all know what he means.
Yeah, he was like, when she said that they're not intimate, he was like, it's weird not to have sex. I'm about to jump off a cliff. He was like, it's giving Stepford Wives. Like, he was so like outraged by every single thing that I was kind of just like, I was just entertained. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna watch it again and get entertained. This is a quick scene. We really don't have to talk about it. It's giving a little Ashley update. It's her aunt's birthday. She announces that the divorce is going through without a public filing. So she didn't have to put their dirty laundry out for the world to see. Michael must have agreed off camera to whatever she wanted, they didn't have to do a public filing. So she's kind of celebrating in a way.
Yeah.
Josh calls. They all say we like Josh. They're like, oh, he was so sweet. That was really fun. And then I loved the end of this scene. I don't know if you want to say anything else about the scene.
No, but she sings then. She uses this opportunity to sing.
And she's feeling the full fun of everything that's going on. And all of a sudden you hear snapping. And off camera you hear, I'm healing and I'm thriving. No, not just surviving. And the entire family is going, why is Ashley singing right now? And it completely starts to wilt. And she has to just stop singing. And everybody they just left her completely in the lurch. They didn't want to join her in her song.
Random.
I love that song, though. I love any time I hear it. I thought that was so fun. Okay, what about Giselle planting that beautiful tree for her father? Okay,
that was nice for you, but
the one funny thing was that they didn't dig a hole at all. They only scraped the ground. Maybe they took a little piece of grass off and they got like this much, and then they go, I think we'll get some people to come do the rest of it, but Pop would really love this.
Yeah, they did a horrible job planting that tree. Then we cruise over. I guess like sometimes I really do forget that they're in like the DC area.
Me too.
You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, like they just like drove to the White House.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
I forget what Potomac geographically means.
Because you'll see if you end up watching DC Housewives, that series is entirely about being connected to power and like politics.
I'm gonna like that then.
All of that stuff. And it never comes up ever.
Okay. Yeah, I know. No, yeah. There's nothing political that ever happens, rarely. I think maybe in the first season. Yeah, so this was awesome. I mean, I liked this stuff. Liked seeing a tour of the White House through the eyes of Dr. Wendy. Mm-hmm. They go to the North Lawn. They go inside, and I have a bone to pick. When they show the inside of the White House, they have these Harvard classics that are sitting there, and two of them are upside down.
Oh, damn.
I was like, what the hell is going on at the White House? Somebody flipped those Harvard classics.
Fix that shit.
Yeah, I bet you right now, if you were to look in that room, two Harvard classics are still upside down. I was kind of pissed about that. But they're showing off the whole thing, and then they get to this special, room where they wait, and then Karen, joins them. And they're all like so just excited to be in the White House because Dr. Wendy is going to have that interview.
Yeah, and her kids got to go, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bucket list item.
It's a huge win for Wendy. It's almost like, I mean, whoever goes to the White House and has an interview with the press secretary, you get another season. And I wanted to say, you know, overall, like I enjoyed Wendy so much this season. Like I do think that she's integral to this cast, and I love her relationship with Eddie. And this was just so cool, the fact that she got to do this for the Dr. Wendy show. So I was proud of her, and she does a good job interviewing her. The 2 minutes that they show, it was like a well done interview. It looked great, and so.
What is her show? Is it on like YouTube? Like I don't really know what it is.
You know, now I'm at a loss. I think it's on YouTube. It's apparently in its second season. I haven't seen it, but that's a huge episode. Like when she premiered that thing was huge. So then we get to the main event, right? After the White House, we get to the Strut for Strays event. This whole thing looked awesome. For a first-time cast member hosting a party, like a gala, I don't know. I mean, I'm easy to please, I guess, but I thought it looked pretty awesome for a party in the Housewives universe.
Do we know what time of year it is? Because every event that they go to so far, it's daytime.
I think it's why they can't hang out in the night?
Well, I don't know. I'm like, maybe if it's like summer, it stays light out upwards of like 8 p.m. But like when they went to the drag show, it was like broad daylight, and then for this it was broad daylight, and they're wearing like gowns.
Yeah, so you're saying it's probably 8 p.m. and the light is still out. I think it's like April, June, because what's 6 months minus what we're at now? It's February. That's 2 months into the year of 2025 minus 4 the other way. 8. Oh, maybe it's a summer show. You know, they usually film and wrap around 6 months before the air date, so maybe it's a summer show. We'll find out someday.
I can look up Wendy's birthday because it was her birthday, right?
Wendy
Osefo birthday.
That's a perfect way to do it.
May 21st.
I thought so. So I think it's a May June show. You know.
Okay.
Which makes sense. So I loved this event already. I was having fun. Stacy gets a lot of shit for how she looks in her hair. I didn't think anything was wrong with her hair, but everyone hates it. And when TJ goes up to her, he can't even give her a compliment about her hair. He goes, "If you like it, I do." And then they zoom in on her wig. Did you see that part to show it? And I was like, damn. I was like, are you just trying to say that it like looks like absolute shit? Like I didn't understand why they were zooming in on it. It looks fine.
Whatever. Yeah, I was like, if you want to do a one-off for an event, it's not like if that's her new hair forever. It was just for this.
Yeah.
But
and then, sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, TJ and AJ sort of like have this weird moment where he's like, TJ goes, "We got to be on the same team." And it's like, it felt like threatening.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, we're on Stacy's team." And he's like, it just was like really awkward.
Yeah, he was like doing a power move on him for sure. And so what happened most likely is that right after the FaceTime, when she got done with that scene with AJ, Stacy goes, "My friend AJ does not like you. Like he was being rude to you when you were talking." So immediately TJ tried to nip that in the bud. Kind of wild because AJ kind of just says, "Oh yeah, we're." He doesn't like push back or anything, you know. TJ, he just lets TJ have it, and then TJ is kind of huffing and puffing because he's mad. He's got that angry energy. And Stacey goes, "Whoa, you know, you seem kind of like hyped up. Everything okay?" And then again, TJ does the same shit that he did at Wendy's birthday party where he's like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to get my bearings. Like, I haven't talked to you. You have a new hairstyle. I haven't got to look at you once. AJ came up to me." And then she starts to talk. And he goes, wait, hold on just a second. It's like, God damn, TJ. What the hell is this energy you have with Stacey? It's like a power thing. He's very patronizing to her. I don't know where this shit is coming from for how he treats her. And it's almost like it's like on camera. How does he not know that this looks really bad?
Yeah, he's always like, I'm just a little confused. Like, I'm coming into this blind. You haven't like helped me like figure out what's going on. Your hair is different. Like, I was like, you need to like take care of yourself. You're old. Like, please chill.
It happens later too, so I'm not going to remark on it when it happens. She like leaves him for a second. She goes, "Hey, sorry, I'm just kind of busy. I'm filming a show while also coordinating the event. So I'll just be right back." And he goes, "Oh, okay. So I'll just wait over here." It's like, damn, you can't just talk to someone else. Like it's awful. I mean, I think by the reunion, I hope that they're done, because Stacey deserves so much better than this piece of shit who is talking to her like this.
Yes. Okay. So then, Karen and Stacey go to the side and they talk through all of this drama. Stacey goes, she's like, "I was shocked by your text." And she's like, they get into about Karen's like, "You weren't defending me." Stacey's like, "I stuck up for you so hard at Lake Norman." And Karen's like, "Well, I've never seen it with my own eyes. You act like I've known you forever, but I'm just getting to know you. And obviously you have backstabbing tendencies."
Yeah. It's a full right from the start. Stacey is, in my opinion, she wins this entire argument in every way. She's the one who pulled Karen aside to confront her about this. You can tell Karen is kind of taken aback and doesn't know how to handle this confrontation. She gets busted with the footage because Stacey did defend her. Then in her confessional, Karen is trying to play up how her reads and how how she can push back on a cast member that's not falling in line. So she does this like horrible, that witch thing in the confessional where she goes, "This is what Stacey looked like when she was talking to me. She looked like a witch. Get away, witch." And I was like, "Oh God, Karen, who bought that for you?"
It's not even Halloween. It's
Stacey
June.
doesn't look like a witch. She's not acting like a witch. It just like it was a full flop in my mind. And Karen was basically flopping the whole way through this, I thought.
Yeah. Stacey's like, "I have an affinity for Mia, and obviously you don't like that." And Karen, she was just like talking normal, and Karen goes, "Applause for the Academy Award." I was like, you can't just pull that out whenever you want.
Yeah, I know. It didn't work. Karen was grasping at straws, trying to pull everything she could for ammunition to use against Stacey, but Stacey was handing her ass. Stacey goes, she went from my fairy godmother to a wicked witch.
Oh wow.
It's like,
Two
whoa.
ways.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. And then Karen calls Stacey raggedy. She goes, I was trying to help your raggedy ass. And Stacey goes, "I'm not raggedy. Look at my face," or something. And she goes, "I'm not talking about your face. I'm talking about how you dress, how you look right now." And then Stacey goes, "I'm wearing Vivian's outfit. She picked this out. Are you making fun of your friend Vivian's designs?" It was insane. Karen just inadvertently made fun of her friend's outfit on camera.
And Karen goes, "You look horrible in most things." And she's like, "I need to take a sip of my drink right now." And Stacey goes, "What are you sipping?" And Karen goes, "Hard liquor." And I was like, Karen!
Karen, you just admitted you slug hard liquor on camera all the time. And then Karen gets drunker and drunker as this thing goes on. She was chugging hard liquor. So it was a huge win. And then Karen continues to double down. Like she goes, "You're demoted. You're no longer my associate. You're completely demoted. You betrayed me, and now I will cast you to the wind," or whatever. Karen thinks that this is her moment where she's in control.
She also goes, she's like, she doesn't want me to bring up her record.
Yeah.
And they're like, the producer's like, "What do you mean? Like, what are you talking about?" And she goes, "Stacey went through the same stop sign 3 times. She's like, not once, not twice, 3 times.
In front of cops.
I'm like, you literally crashed your car drunk. Like, you cannot talk about traffic offenses.
Why would she have done it? Why did she do it? Why, of all things to bring up? And it's to me, it's so wild that all of the dirt that Karen had on Stacey happened to be that she does rolling stops at the same stop sign. It was just...
Doesn't she know we all ride or die for the California roll?
We've already talked about it. If no one is around me, you think I'm stopping a full stop for any stop sign in the world? So they kind of give Karen a lame edit on that one. I was proud of them. Yeah. They don't make it look like Karen had the best comeback in the world. They kind of give it just like
they
crickets.
leave it the dead air, yeah.
Yeah.
Then Giselle thinks she's eating it up. She comes in a dress that apparently at the Vivian shopping day, Wendy wanted to wear. But Stacy was like, that's too flashy. I'm the host. I don't want her to wear that. So then Giselle went back and bought it herself and wore it.
I thought that was so lame. First of all, she does an impression of Stacy being like, no one can outshine the host. And then when they show Stacy saying it, it's obviously a joke and she's just being funny or whatever. So Giselle thought that she was, really killing it by buying that dress and wearing it. And then Stacy says she looks like Big Bird.
Yeah. And then Giselle said, did she say it on the episode or did I see it somewhere else? She said that she gave the dress to Wendy after the fact.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little bit more of a win, I guess. But I just think for some reason I'm so partial to Stacy that everything that Giselle and Karen try to do against her just looks completely lame and flops like a fish to me, you know?
Totally. This is where we find out that Greg isn't there. They're not talking. They can't even agree to disagree. And then this is where Ashley tells Giselle that Karen told Stacy to avoid Wendy.
Yeah. Now, this was a crossroads. This was where I was like, this can go either way. I really thought for a second Giselle was going to go, well, that's backstabbing Stacy for you. Always talking shit behind people's back. She's proven that she's completely shitty and not loyal to us OGs. But instead, Giselle says, that sounds like Karen. And they completely go the other way, all of them.
Yeah. Karen goes, does that sound like me? And they're all kind of like, yeah. Like when Wendy finds out later and they're like, she goes, do I think Karen says that? She goes, no, I know she said that.
It was so awesome because Karen has just burned too many bridges with this cast, and they all know that she drunk dials them talking shit. They knows that this is exactly like something she would say. And then Stacy has the evidence. I don't know if it happens here, but she has the perfect evidence where she goes, yeah, it was at this restaurant she took me to. It was right by her house. That's where she told me all of this gossip.
Like, not the tally ho.
And Giselle goes, now I know it's true because that's where Karen goes to talk shit about everyone in the world at that tally ho place.
It's like on I don't know, Sex and the City when Big takes Carrie to like the Chinese restaurant where they'll never be seen. Like I feel like that's like her like federal agent restaurant where she's like, we'll go to the tally ho.
Yeah, if I don't know where Potomac is at all in the world, but if I'm ever in that area, I want to go to tally ho and get the Karen special, which was French toast, eggs, and bacon.
I would totally go there.
Me too.
And then, so yeah, everyone's pissed. Mia finds out that she was not Potomac.
Mia doesn't give a shit. She goes, fuck Karen.
Yeah,
I don't give a
hate
shit.
her ass.
She goes, I don't give a shit what Karen says about me. It's kind of funny. She's just reading text on her phone.
Yeah. And then we go into the fashion show itself. Stacy and TJ are like narrating from the balcony, like a little opera seat.
Totally. I got to give TJ credit. They were kind of killing it with that routine that they were doing up there. Kind of fun. He goes, my name is Thomas Anthony Jane, but you can call me TJ.
They are professionals.
Yeah, that was awesome. They were going back and forth, and they have little introductions for everyone who's coming out to the stage, and it's Ashley first with a dog named Boba.
Yes. Yeah. Mia with a dog named Percy, Kay with a dog named Otto. Then we get more of Karen talking about the genetically modified dogs that I would like to hear more about this strategy.
I think she's saying, like, just so you know, I'm not buying one of these dogs here, but don't think me callous. I'm getting some genetically engineered dogs that no one wants.
I was surprised, like, 2 of the women took dogs home that day.
Wendy for sure, and then who else?
I think Mia did.
Oh my God. That is so cool.
That's like crazy. Like that's such a big decision to me. Like I would really have to think about that.
Yeah, this is the moment. They go, everyone be quiet. We have an emergency. And I got so scared. I go, oh my God, what happened to one of the dogs? And they go, is there a doctor in the house? And I go, oh, phew. I go, oh my God, they mean Dr. Wendy. And then that's when she comes out. Yeah, and then they go, she bought a dog. And then Eddie goes, what the hell?
I'd be so pissed. Like, what the hell? He's like, she never walks our freaking other dog. Yeah. But he took it with stride. And then all the dogs come out. They're all barking.
Do you think at this moment I was like, whoa, this is pretty chaotic for a production? Like, there's animal wranglers that are designated on set. If you even have a fly on set or a lizard, like, you have to have a wrangler. So for Bravo, I wonder if the wrangler duties are covered by the rescue.
Yeah.
And Bravo didn't have to do anything, but it was almost so many dogs that I wonder if Bravo had to have a wrangler on set. Because the minute all the dogs were there, I was like, oh my God, this is fucking trouble. It's like, they're dogs. They don't know what the hell they're doing, you know?
It seemed like whenever they would cut to someone like holding a dog that wasn't a housewife, it looked like they were from the rescue. But then some dumbass piece of shit DJ pushed the button on like a fog machine that sprayed the entire stage, so all the dogs trip out. It was so sad.
All hell breaks loose.
I was pissed. Like, I was like, I would be horrified if I were Stacey.
When you said it was sad, I was so bummed out. I was like, oh no, it's going to be sad while all the dogs start shitting and pissing. And it was. They blow for no reason. It was like they hit the wrong button. I think they meant to hit confetti, and they blew the shit with
even
fog
confetti
machines.
would have been bad. Like, it would have still made a noise, and then it would have gotten everywhere. The dogs would like eat it. Like, just don't do that.
Horrible decision, but I don't blame Stacey at all.
She was upset, you could tell.
Yeah, she was so bummed out. So the dogs get so scared. One dog just immediately takes like the biggest shit you've ever seen in your life. Then all of a sudden, it's the pandemonium. The camera is going up. Dog shit flies on the lens. They look down, and there's new dog shit that's forming. There's piss.
It's blurred.
It's blurred out because we can't see dog shit on Bravo. I kind of want the uncensored edit. Then immediately they're screaming. Karen goes,
she's retching, like everyone's gagging, screaming. Karen literally barfs, like literally throws up.
She has to run to a trash can and barf in it. And it's like, this is like, it's so wild. Like, this actually happened. Like, there's shit everywhere. They're having to blow Febreze. It kind of ruined the dynamic. TJ's up there going, guys, please, we don't want you to leave. Please stay here. But everyone says it smells like absolute shit. We can't stay here. Even the Febreze isn't covering it. There's people getting poop bags and cleaning up the shit. But I couldn't tell if like 90% of the audience still stayed in the room and just our cast left. Because did it really ruin the party for the rest of the night? It seemed like it did.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure how like manufactured the chaos was in a way.
I wonder what was supposed to happen after that. Like, was it just like a cocktail hour
I think
it
was going to be so, could you imagine? I think it was going to be so fun. Like, the end credits would have been like them listening to music and having cocktails or something, but no one wants to stay there. Wendy screams at one point. She goes, everywhere I go, there's shit.
It was funny.
And
just like actually throwing up, that was wild. But
and then if people didn't watch Potomac, I mean, this was an amazing episode. Everyone should watch it, and this was a good season. But it was not Stacey's fault, like we said. The planner even says that's going to be our confetti moment at the end. And she goes, I would have never had fog machines go off. The DJ did that. So it was not her fault. It's the event planner's fault, or the DJ, whoever pressed the wrong button. But everybody's kind of blaming Stacey. And I was so pissed because then Karen and Giselle got a win against Stacey. Mm-hmm. They were like, that's a shit show. You're fucked up event. Like, they were waiting for her to fail. And this was a huge fail, obviously, having shit all over your party. It's one of the worst ways to end a party.
Shit spraying everywhere. Then it does the end of season updates. It says Kay and Greg, even though they just moved in together, she moved out. It didn't say they broke up, but that's obviously not a good sign.
Moved in and immediately moved out. Yeah. Not looking good.
Yeah. Ashley still casually dating Josh. Giselle is an empty nester. They said that she's still sort of seeing that guy, Nams or whatever. Wendy has a teaching gig at Wesleyan University.
She's going to be teaching a course on reality television.
That's fun. I would take that.
Me too.
If I went there.
That's amazing. That's like the perfect combination of her skills. That's so cool.
Totally. Stacey's in the final stages of divorce. Mia adopted that dog, spent New Year's Eve with Gordon, and broke up with Ink.
Yeah, huge updates, and I actually loved how the end credits were. I loved how they did them. They didn't look as like cheesy as the normal ones. They kind of just like froze the chaos and then put the credits up. I thought that was really sweet. And then, do you want to talk about the 5 months later?
Yes.
Jump to?
Yeah. it shows Karen leaving for her trial date. And it says like 12 hours later, jury reached a verdict, and it was all the headlines: found guilty, guilty, guilty.
It was filmed beautifully too. Her and Ray arriving to court. They're both dressed in black. It's like a rainy day, and they played this like eerie music. It almost felt like Philip Glass music or something to like show them going to the trial. And then 12 hours later, I was thinking, what took them so long? Right. I would have said guilty as hell within 30 seconds once you watch that footage. Oh my God. Your Honor, she was drunk as a skunk.
Totally. And then, so that was December 19th. Shortly after that, all the body cam footage stuff came out. And February 2025, it says, is the sentencing, and she's facing 2 years, which I think, did they recently say it got pushed?
I'm not sure. I don't remember that update. I'm sure if we looked right now, we would know, what's current. But then, they give us the reunion teaser, and I was like, damn, okay. Even if you thought the season was lackluster, which I didn't. I mean, I thought it was pretty fun consistently. The reunion looks amazing. I mean, there was so much shit going on.
Yeah. Karen's not there. They have her photo sitting on the couch. She like dials in or sends a video of herself like crying. She's not glamorous at all.
I give her a lot of credit for that. I didn't know she did that. I thought that she pulled Elisa Vanderpump and just didn't go because she didn't want to get the shame or guilt of whatever. She couldn't deal with it. The fact that she recorded a 5-minute video or whatever it is, that kind of secures her another season for me. It's like, I know this is horrible, but at least I'm giving you content to use at the reunion. I know it's my duty to give you something. Sure. So I didn't know that was going to happen. She should have been there, obviously, but this is much better than just completely bailing.
Yeah. They start talking about that there's a rumor that there was someone in the car with her during the DUI who fled, potentially a boyfriend.
Could you imagine? Right before the cops showed up, there's just a guy running through the bushes. Why wouldn't he have driven? He must have been way drunker.
Yeah, he tucks and rolls. They say that TJ's not there, which is like shocking that he didn't want camera time. Yeah,
and they tease a moment where they go, TJ called Eddie and he said something absolutely horrible about Stacey. And Stacey goes, that's a lie. TJ would never say something like that about me. And they go, it's on camera.
And then everyone goes, bring Eddie out. Bring Eddie out.
Yeah, it's awesome. They all do a chant to bring Eddie out. I've never seen anything like that at a reunion. They're all having fun saying, bring Eddie out. And then Eddie comes out to say what TJ said. Here's my prediction. I'm wrong with every prediction I ever have. I think that TJ is going to pull he knows that he looked like absolute shit. He knows the audience absolutely hates him. He's had enough time to think about it. I think he's going to say that Stacey faked being in a relationship with him on camera because she thought it would be good for a storyline or something. Because that's happened before. I think some boyfriend, I think that he'll try to pretend like he wasn't giving his all and actually being a good partner because Stacey was toying with him for the show. That's what I think the revelation is going to be. But I bet I'm probably wrong.
We'll see.
Yeah. You have any prediction of what the hell he could say to Stacey? Look, obviously it implies that they're broken up.
Right. Like if he wouldn't go.
Yeah.
I had literally no idea.
Yeah, and it's probably something smaller and not at all what I said, but that was my prediction.
Great.
All right. 1 hour, 11 minutes. How do you feel about going through Beverly Hills and then saving the certified turtle piss break for after Beverly Hills? Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Sweet Home Augusta.
Yeah. Can I say up front that I thought this episode was amazing?
Ooh.
I was having a fun time. I think the first 10 minutes are a little bit of a lull, but all the Augusta stuff and then the final Capri dinner shit and even the introduction, the black and white montage of the beauty of PK and Dorit, I was like, whoa, they decided that they were in a little bit of a slump by the 8th episode or whatever the hell this is. Yeah. They're like, let's ramp this shit up.
Yeah, I was just thinking because we were talking about, I forget which, maybe it was Puerto Rico for RHONY, but how trips are getting kind of tired. And I was like, this is a totally different kind of trip, which felt very refreshing. Like it was a little bit of a one-off.
I love organic trips where this makes sense. Sutton wants to bring people to meet her mom in Augusta and show off Augusta. So I really like that. So let's talk about the black and white montage. For me, I did have to be reminded of the beauty of PK and Dorit's relationship. I loved this thing. They show their I don't know, was it their vow renewal where PK is giving giving that beautiful speech to Dorit, and he's like, "It's you, baby, and you alone." And they had all those like
She's
sweet.
like, my baby.
He goes, "Dorit, I can conquer the world with just one hand as long as you're holding the other one." And I'm like, oh my God, I've never heard anything like that. I loved seeing this. It brought me back to the magic of their relationship. And Dorit goes, "PK, the man of my life, the king of my dreams, and mate of my soul." I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Jagger, they go, "Jagger, what do you say, Jagger?" And Jagger's doing a little spin in his tuxedo. I was like, this is so perfect to get to let the audience remember what we're losing. Because, you know, for passive watchers, you don't remember the greatest hits of this relationship.
Yeah.
So that was a great moment.
They've been on a long ass time at this point.
Yeah. I want to, really quick, one of the little snapshots they do. I like that the Martin Bullard, they go, he goes, I forget how what his voice is like, but he goes, "You're looking at $37,000 for the renovations." And Erica takes it in stride.
Yeah, she's like, "I won't have to hook on the streets for that amount." I was curious if that was the total or if that was just for like the pergola or whatever. You know what I mean?
I was thinking total. Like, I think he knocked off $100,000 for this being on camera and him getting a little bit of the world to see Martin Bullard.
Yeah.
But so, you know, giving her a deal. But that's probably for everything, I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then Sutton invites Garcelle to Augusta to meet her mom. And then she's like, "I want Kyle to come too because they both have moms who have passed."
They both have moms.
Don't we all?
What did you think? I felt this was a little off. What did you think about Sutton inviting Kyle after about 3 or 4 episodes of trying to talk shit about Kyle, about how awful she is, and then instantly it's like, let's invite Kyle.
I know, it was weird. Kyle was like, "Is everyone going?" And she was like, "No." Like, I feel like she was surprised potentially. Do you think it's just that she didn't want it to just be Garcelle?
I mean, it's obviously much more powerful to have Kyle, and I felt like they have been forming an alliance in a way. Like, this is the relationship that Kyle wanted if they hadn't been talking shit about her. So they're almost just pretending like they haven't been brewing this rift with Kyle, and it's part of their original strategy of being united together. But yeah, it just makes the trip much more dynamic to have Kyle along. They knew it's better television to have her, so that's why they invited her.
For sure. Then we get Bose and Dorit hanging out. Dorit brings up Sutton's weird interruption at the house before they went to Ventura, and they're like, "Yeah, what the hell was that?"
Yeah. Yep. Totally. And then Dorit is planting the seeds. She goes, "PK is, going absolutely apeshit, and I think he's starting to think." I haven't seen him since the therapy session where he walked out and said he wants a divorce. I think he's very close to possibly serving papers to me. And Bose is like, "Well, damn, you need to you need to watch out for this. It's like, this is a huge deal. Like, if he's going to serve you need to prepare for that reality."
Yeah. She said that she tried to text him and then he ignored her, and he goes, "I'm at a friend's wedding. Have a nice day."
Oh my God. Could you imagine the normally fun, kind of silly text you get from PK, and then all of a sudden he's just all business?
No more memes.
No more memes. What do you think about Bose and Keeley?
I don't know. At first I was like, oh, like, they're cute. They seem like, she was like, we're definitely, what did she say? Like, in our, not honeymoon phase, but she said something that they're like head over heels or something like that.
Yeah.
But then they were talking about the like fertility timeline, and he's like, "I like that you let me do my own thing and you don't put me on a timeline." But she's also like, "If I am going to carry a child, the timeline is very short."
Yeah. He goes, "I'm not going to say that I'm not going to waste your time."
Yeah, it was weird. And then in the preview for the upcoming episode, it's revealed that they haven't even said "I love you."
Yeah. And she says, which is true. She goes, "I feel like we're hurtling towards a goal, but we're not talking about a lot of the things like leading up to it." It's like, it sounds like they're moving at a pace that's not appropriate for the actual relationship, especially if they haven't even expressed their love for each other. So I'm a little worried about this. This was the first time where I was like, oh, you guys are kind of completely on different pages here. And Keeley didn't win me over completely with the, like, I'm not going to waste your time here. Right. I love that I get my own timeline where I don't have to commit to anything.
Right. And then we go to the gun range with Kyle and Mauricio. And I was trying to think, is that a first?
I think so. I could not remember a time where cast members were shooting guns off at a range. I mean,
I'm like, in Dallas, maybe, but I don't remember that.
yeah. Mauricio goes, I'm going to give you a 35 or a 38. He goes, a smaller gun, right? And then he starts firing this loud as hell gun, a 38. I don't know anything about guns.
Me neither.
Have you ever been to a gun range?
No.
I went once.
I don't think I would like it.
I was so scared. I thought that someone was going to just, blow me away in the room, because you're just there with live guns with a bunch of other people. But there is, just like that guard, there is people there watching you, making sure that you don't blow everybody away. But I have such a fear of guns.
Yeah, it just seems unpleasant to me.
And I don't like the blowback. We have a lot of gun-toting little turtle cuties, but
We can start a gun tier.
Guns. It's all about guns, Amy. So I don't get a thrill from it. I don't like the pushback. I don't like the loud noise. I'm scared of possibly getting shot by someone who doesn't know what the hell they're doing. But it was a unique scene in the franchise, so I'm like, okay, I'll take it. And they kind of they put it like it's because Kyle might want to buy a gun someday so that she could murder someone, or not murder, sorry, self-defense if somebody ever did a home invasion on her again.
Manslaughter.
Yeah, manslaughter.
Yeah, she said she's been scared ever since the robbery.
Yeah.
Which, I always think about that. Supposedly Teddy's ex-husband was the one that outfitted their house with security, and then they immediately got robbed.
Yeah, like something happened that night with the security. I loved this moment. They start to talk, and they kind of have a good awkward conversation where it's like formerly married people where they don't know what to say to each other. I kind of liked the tension or whatever. And then she's like, how's the condo? And Mauricio's like, it's good. It's got a refrigerator. I got a bunch of eggs in it. I've been eating a lot of canned soup recently. I kind of put it on the stove. I throw a tomato in there, and then he just kind of like trails off and like.
It's giving like ultimate bachelor. Like, he can only eat canned foods because he's had his dinner made for him his entire life, and now he's like, cans.
Yeah, he's loving the idea of canned soup, which I was I'm a huge fan of soup. So I love that he was just telling her what was in his fridge: eggs and canned soup with tomatoes. And then Kyle says, you get to have this fun condo life filled with canned soup. I'm in our house without you and without our daughters. It's just so much, like, I think, sadder for her. And Kyle is going through it in this scene in a way I haven't seen in a while. And she talks about how she's truly struggling this season, like dealing with the trauma of losing her significant other that she's been with for however many years, almost all of her adult life.
I saw a tweet somewhere where it wasn't about this episode, but it was like, I think last week whenever she was alone in the kitchen or whatever. And the tweet was like, how many times are we going to talk about Kyle being an empty nester? And I was like, that's allowed, in my opinion, not to be the Kyle defender, but like, that was her entire persona, the entire run of the entire show. Like, her marriage was such a, like, anchor point for, like, quote, couple goals, except that maybe he was cheating on her the whole time. And like their daughters, and like, they just had this like wonderful family life. So I'm like, if it implodes, we can talk about it for like a while.
Yeah, and there are people, I guess they're not on the internet, but there are people who love Kyle, and they find the most interesting aspect of Beverly Hills being how Kyle is dealing with, post-separation with Mauricio. Like, even in my house, like, Megan, like, when Kyle has scenes, like, she'll have her attention back and she'll turn up the volume because she just wants to see how Kyle is dealing with this shit. And for people who hate Kyle, like, I'm like, do you hate this scene? Like, was this scene boring? Like a scene where she's talking to Mauricio and like she's so sad about like their relationship. Like, I just can't imagine. I don't know. I just can't imagine being the anti-Kyle person in scenes like that. Like, what does she do that annoys you in that
I
scene?
also like that it was like when they go to a yoga class and talk the whole time and then they just stay behind, or when they go furniture shopping and then they just have a conversation. They're at a gun range and they're like, can we just stay? And the guy's like, oh, okay.
But he let them keep their loaded guns.
They're like, can we stay and talk?
Yeah, it was a funny place to stay seated to have your conversation is on that gun range. But I felt bad for Kyle because Kyle does try to move on and give us other stuff, but number one in her mind and everything she's going through is how she feels about Mauricio and being without him. So I honestly have to give her credit for talking about anything else when that's the headline every single day for her. Did you get a sense that Kyle is the one that is more affected by this separation than Mauricio? Like if Mauricio said, I don't want to eat canned soup anymore and I don't want to cheat anymore, that Kyle would potentially bring Mauricio back into her life?
I don't know. It's like, I feel like it's probably something that is like ever changing because before they announced that they were breaking up, remember those like awkward scenes where he would like kiss her on the cheek and she'd be like, ugh, like she was like, don't touch me, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I think that like she kind of hated him for a while and now she's feeling wistful because he's gone. And it's sad that like, and I think she's a little bit like jealous, like she said, of like, he gets to have this like fun bachelor condo where I'm sure she would love to buy like a cute little house that like she gets to decorate, even though I'm sure she decorated their entire house to her liking anyway. But it's like the ghosts of their history she lives amongst, and he gets to like forge this new fun path where he gets to like fuck his Dancing with the Stars partner and like do whatever he wants. And she's like still in like mom mode.
Yeah. I see that for sure. It's enviable in a way, like, but also Kyle has a better house, all of their stuff, it has more memories, but like, I mean,
you can see the version where he thinks his version is depressing. Yeah,
in a way. And Kyle could also make love to whoever she wants, bring him back to the house when her daughters aren't there. I get why it's completely different, but I'm just saying, like, I can imagine that, in a way, Kyle is really, winning in this situation. But to me, the balance shifted a little bit where I was just like, I know why Kyle wanted to no longer be with Mauricio. It seems like they became so distant in their lives, and also I think that there was cheating, but I think that now she's more reeling from the fact that she doesn't have him in her life, and he sort of can be take it or leave it because he is, like you said, full-blown bachelor mode. Like, I can have sex in Aspen with 30-year-olds and go to Greece, and I get to eat soup when I come back. And so for me, I was like, oh man, I think that she might possibly take Mauricio back if he was able to say, I'm going to make you more a part of my life, and I will never cheat on you again, know?
Yeah, something to think on. I really don't know, like, where they stand, because they're probably, you have everyone else that got divorced. Dorit is now in the weird limbo of, like, that's what the whole rest of the episode is about, is, like, her figuring out if she should divorce him first if he's going to divorce her. And they're like, why are you staying? And with Kyle, they already have said that to her, where they're like, what, like, you're in this weird limbo where you should probably just divorce because it'll be the cleanest financially and, with all of the deals you need to make. But they seem unwilling to actually pull the plug.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. Absolutely. This is when it starts to ramp up for me, this episode. I liked those scenes that we talked about, but then we get to going to Augusta. They go to the LAX VIP terminal. Have you ever been in this thing?
No, I've heard of it, where they like drive you onto the plane. Like, you don't have to go into the airport at all.
I love that it looked like shit, but they were trying to make it look like it was like really cool. And they showed the snacks for a second, and it was just like Dots, pretzels, and like Starburst. It was like
what you get on an airplane.
Water bottles. It didn't look fancy at all.
Well, they were kind of talking shit about it. Like, Garcelle was like, I got up at 3 a.m. for this.
Yeah, she goes, what the hell was Sutton doing when she was planning this trip? It's a red eye. It's a commercial. There was no later flights to Augusta. Like, she's kind of pissed.
Yeah.
And then Sutton's also the last one to show up to the terminal. Kyle gets there before her, too.
Yes. Then Avi picks them up with little Junebug, the dog, and Sutton is very nervous for them to meet her mom, Reba, because she's a bit of a pill. Mm-hmm. And we get a little bit the house tour, the room selection, and then Reba arrives with her friend Jim.
Oh my God. And let's just put friend in quotes. It seems like that's quite possibly her boyfriend.
Yes.
Right. So, and I think for context to think about what is going on in Sutton's life, she has a full home in Augusta, like full place, and her mom lives on a property on that place. So Sutton is probably going back and forth constantly, probably lives as much time in Augusta possibly as she does Beverly Hills. I had no idea she had this fully set up life in Augusta, or at least I forgot, but the mom lives on the property.
Well, she was like, they were like, they asked her about when she bought it, and she was like, I bought it with Christian. And they were like, oh, so you got it in the divorce? And she goes, yeah. Like,
what does she mean?
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Which I was wondering also if, like, because of where it is, it's probably such a bargain compared to like a Bel Air house or whatever, that she's like, yeah, they threw in the freaking Georgia house, you know? Like,
yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
Probably like not even $1 million because it's just so much cheaper to live there.
Yeah. Have you been to Augusta?
No, I've been to Atlanta.
Oh, wow. I haven't been either. Oh, I don't go anywhere. Okay, so then Reba comes in, and we've met Reba before, but I didn't remember that, you know, she's a little terse. That is, you know, a little bit. She comes in, and she first gives Garcelle a hug, and Garcelle is really wanting to make a good impression because she's Sutton's friend, so she wants to really honor Reba, and she's like going above and beyond, and then so Garcelle gives Reba a hug. And Reba goes, great, thanks so much. That's a nice hug. And then Kyle gives her a hug, and Reba goes, oh my God, you are so pretty. And Garcelle goes, why didn't she say that to me?
Garcelle is like oddly in her head about this whole thing. Like, she brought her a scarf, which she's like, maybe I shouldn't have. And she's like, maybe I should have been like Kyle, who didn't bring shit.
Well, I actually think that Garcelle is tuned in to Reba because Reba is kind of treating Garcelle like shit. I mean, first of all, it is rude to not say someone else is pretty and only say the second person is pretty. I'd be thinking the exact same thing. Yeah. Oh, damn, I'm not pretty. But then when Garcelle goes, I got you a gift, and you 9 out of 10 times people go, oh my God, thank you so much. That is so sweet of you. She goes, what is it? And Garcelle goes, oh, you have to open it. Garcelle's not understanding the frequency that Reba is on, so she keeps missing the mark. Uh-huh. And then I thought Reba gave a pretty awful reception to the gift. Mm-hmm. She goes, what the hell is this? She goes, a scarf? Or I could wear it as a shawl? And Garcelle goes, yeah, I mean, you could do whatever you want with it. And there was barely even a thank you on Reba's part. So
yeah, and she's like, I've heard good things about you, or I've heard a lot about you or something. And then Garcelle goes, good things, I hope. And she goes, we'll see.
Yeah, I did not understand with what was going on. Like, did Reba hear something bad about Garcelle? Did she not like her social media? I don't know, but she was definitely treating Garcelle much worse than I ever thought. And Garcelle's bummed out. Like, I appreciated Garcelle's response. I would feel the exact same way if I didn't get a thank you. Mm-hmm. She's just like, you know what?
It was from Saks. Like, it was probably like at least $100 or something.
She's like, I picked this out. I bought it. I wrapped it. I took it on a trip with me. And that was the reaction I get. Like, she was basically like making fun of that thing. I mean, you know, to be honest, I don't know if I would have worn that scarf. And I did have no idea what it was. Sarong, she said?
Yeah. Well, she's just like weird. She's an oddball woman who's kind of a bitch, and they get the tour because we find out she lives in the back house, and Garcelle tries to compliment it was a Garcelle that compliments the family. She's like, I love your family. Your grandkids are so awesome. They're such great kids. And she goes, James is weird, but whatever. And Garcelle goes, I have a weird one too. And she goes, I know, I've seen him. I'm like, how do you know who the fuck Jax is?
Yeah, and Garcelle didn't even want to say she has a weird son. She was
trying to bond.
She was trying to bond about the comment that she's never heard anyone say in their life. Immediately when Reba said James is weird, I immediately flashed to Sutton saying odd things with no filter. The first thing that comes into her brain, like I didn't have a gun to my head.
Yeah.
At least I'm not like Dorit with a gun to my head. I was like, that is exactly what Sutton does. No filter, pops it out, and so she gets that from Reba, I think.
Yeah. And that's so Kyle is like, what the hell? Like, am I supposed to say I have a weird kid too, just to fit in? And they're all like laughing about how weird that was. And I'm like, after all of that, Garcelle still wants to have a one-on-one with this woman.
Yeah.
I'd be like, fuck that.
No, seriously. Yeah, I would scrap that conversation instantly. Kyle's being kind of fun in all these scenes because she's kind of like the audience surrogate, just kind of being
She
like, this
feels
is
like
really
she's
awkward.
Like, I don't even like Sutton that much. Like, she's kind of like shitty to me. So I'm just like along for the ride. Like, she's just like, I'm invited.
Yeah, Sutton does have a very distant relationship with her mom, too. I don't think something we didn't mention, it comes up a little bit more later, but Sutton told Garcelle multiple times that she doesn't feel like her mom is ever proud of her. Mm-hmm. Like, she feels very distant from her. She doesn't know how to communicate with her. And so a huge, like, issue she has is that she doesn't feel like post-Christian that her mom has ever been proud of anything she's done. So that's kind of like going into this trip.
Should we just like go through the dinner part and keep it on this and then switch?
Let's do it.
So it turns out Garcelle told Erica about the trip, and so the other ladies talk about it at the dinner. We'll talk about after, but they're talking about Garcelle says she sees similarities between Sutton and Reba, you know, like she's like a tough cookie. And then we get the reminder that when Sutton opened her store, Sutton in West Hollywood, that her mom had like a shitty reaction, didn't really hype her up about it at all. And it like really bummed her out because she was so proud of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's such a sad scene. It's Sutton crying, saying, I wanted you to be proud of me. I worked so hard on this. And what does the mom say? I'd like to leave now. Or
yeah, she goes like, anyways. Like, she's like, on to the next subject.
A part of me is like, is Reba, you know, not reality television isn't everyone's forte. Is a part of her like, I'm not going to have a crying, emotional scene with you on camera. Like, I always have to remember that huge cameras are in people's faces. So maybe Reba's like, I'm not crying and having an emotional, heartbreaking scene with you right now, even though that's Sutton's
it sounds
job.
Like that's always her vibe. Like,
yes,
she always would hype up Sutton's ex even after they broke up and was like, look at all of the amazing things he's doing. And she's like, what about what I'm doing?
He goes, he was named the top 100 CEOs.
And she's like, I hate him though.
Yeah. What does he do again, Christian?
Like finance something. I don't know. He's rich as hell.
Oh my God.
But then she doubles down. She says something I didn't expect her to say. She goes, I was raised by a narcissist and I married a narcissist. I was like, oh shit, shots fired. Like full diagnoses. Like, you know that your mom cannot be fixed and you just have to deal with it. Like, it's like not something you can really, if you decide someone's a narcissist, you can't really like solve that.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, do you know any narcissists in your life?
Maybe not that I hang out with anymore.
Tell me after Turtle Time. I could definitively say I don't know anyone who is just absolutely only self-absorbed in my life.
Malignant lifestyle.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I think it gets thrown around like way too much now, like in the past 5 years. But
it was thrown around on Sandoval a lot.
Oh yeah, like, and I'm like, he's just like an idiot.
Bryn got it too. I remember Bryn got the narcissist diagnosis by Raquel. Yeah, I don't know one. I don't know what that's like, but it's a huge thing for her to admit on camera about her mom. I can't imagine. And it sounds like Reba watches the show, so she's going to see that.
It's going to be dark. This is where Garcelle is like, I want to talk to her about like trying to bridge the gap for you guys. And Kyle is like, why don't you let me know before you do that? Because I'm going to get the hell out of here. And
Kyle is telling the audience, she goes, I love Garcelle. I think she's got good intentions, but it's very presumptuous of her to have a conversation about like her love for her daughter with her mom that she's never met. And it's true. I mean, it's going to be very weird. It's going to be a good scene, possibly. I mean, I don't know. Reba might shut it down, but it doesn't make any sense. It's kind of like, it's testing the boundaries of what is reality television. What friend would do that? I'm going to be the middle person for a bridge between you and your mom when I don't even know
your
the
mom who's like 80 years old. Well, in the clip, the mom goes, that's none of your business. And I was like,
which is like the real response. I mean, it is not. Is that it for their side of things?
Yeah, we can go to the Kathy Hilton's Capri dinner. She's like, I love pasta. I love lemons.
This is 10 out of 10. This is like a perfect Beverly Hills scene. It's got the high, the low, the funny, the shocking, the dramatic. It was absolutely perfect. I had no idea where it was going to get to when they started this. It seemed very frivolous and just like a counterbalance to them all getting screen time. So Kathy's like, well, I'll host a dinner too for the other cast members. But they make a meal out of this thing, a full Capri dinner, I'd say.
Yes. Yeah. Not to compete with Dorit's Capri room at Buca
No. It starts out with some fun Kathy stuff. Fun. She right out the gate. She goes, first of all, well, was there anything? There's some getting it together first. They're like, get some knives, get some forks, put another lemon on the table. There's like the butler and stuff. But then I love the moment where they start serving wine. And Kathy goes, he goes, I got French or Italian. And Kathy goes, well, I'm not a wine snob, but Italian wines, even though I am Italian. And I was like, what the hell was she about to say? Was she going to say that Italian wines suck?
Yeah, I don't know.
It sounds like
I'm the Pinot Grigio head. So
yeah, she goes,
disagree.
Even though I'm Italian. And then they're like, oh my God, Kathy Hilton found out that she's Italian. What part of Italy? Did you do 23andMe? How did you learn this? And then she goes, no, when I was in Venice, this lady knew everything and knew that I'm part Chinese 3000 BC. So you have to stop and think for a second. Kathy said, I'm Italian. I found out. Then you go, how did you?
A woman approached her on a gondola. She just rode up and was like, you are Chinese 3000 BC, and then kept going.
So she learned that she was Italian in Italy from an Italian woman in Venice. But then that same person said, but I have another thing to tell you. You're Chinese 3000 BC. Was that what she was trying to say?
She kept going all the way back.
Yeah. And then it kind of is a conversation dead end. She goes, I'm Chinese 3000 BC, and everyone looks down. Erica doesn't engage. Dorit goes, what? Bose goes, I'm sorry. They all kind of are they don't want to ask anything more, and then the conversation just completely dies, and then Bose just does a toast.
Yeah. It reminds me of when Erica said she was like a small Spanish prince on a ship.
Yeah, I like that, but that was more like, oh, do you think
past life?
Yeah, you think Kathy omitted the part where it was a past life conversation? That makes much more sense.
I would love to see that, but yeah, I don't know. I it's giving like when you get the ancestry.com or whatever, they'll say like your origins are from like this continent or whatever. Like maybe there's like origins in Asia. I don't know.
What was going on? I'm just going to ask you, what was going on 3000 BC in China?
Oh, great question. Let me tell you.
It's like Turtle Time. We have a 20-minute tangent. So I didn't understand. Again, even for Kathy, this made no sense. Like, I laughed too, but also like I didn't understand why nothing about it was like no further questions were asked.
I think they just wanted it to be a Kathyism.
I see. Okay. All right.
And then for some reason, Bose is trying to get in any way she can. She goes, I'm sure Kyle is lovely, but I find your sister to be cold.
I couldn't believe it.
And I'm like, what are you even trying to say? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it felt like Bose was working off an old script when everyone hated Kyle, and they've mostly moved on past hating Kyle, but Bose is still operating under that assumption. But in no way should she have said that to Kathy to make Kathy talk shit about her sister. Yeah. Didn't make any sense. I felt like Dorit and Erica didn't engage in that very much at all. Kathy just said, my sister is going through, she kind of gave the perfect answer. It was great. She went from the Chinese 3000 BC to having a very eloquent answer about what Kyle's going through. She's like, she's traumatized by losing the person in her life that she's been married to, and she is going through that. I try not to bother her. I just let her come to me whenever she wants to. I don't push her because sometimes that makes Kyle like go away from me. But ultimately, she's a Capricorn, so if you needed something, she would be there. And I was like, perfect answer. Like, you explained Kyle's mentality, you explained that you still have a good relationship with her, and you said overall she's a great person. And also, I was thinking, Kyle has not been cold to Bose. I mean, I know it was kind of transactional, but Kyle went over and tried to have a moment with Bose when she brought her flowers after the surgery and stuff. And I don't think that Kyle's been treating Bose with a distance. It's only because Bose has been so firmly in Dorit's camp that they haven't been able to launch a friendship, I thought.
Yeah. We get another 2-letter name mix-up. Kathy calls PK PJ.
Yeah, she goes, you couldn't help but love PJ. And they have to correct her and say it's PK. And I was like, I think Kathy, she talks about how she's known PK for years. At a certain point, I was like, wow, how long did you think it was PJ? Or do you think, or is Kathy just doing all of these stupid things? Or is she like playing up a role of like, because remember she called Bose boss?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't really tell where she lies, but I do think she's just kind of a loop-de-loo brain.
I hope we don't learn anything like bad that's
about her health
that's going on.
It's the microplastics. Did you see we all have the weight of a takeout spoon of microplastics in our brain?
Yeah, I've been working on getting mine out.
Mm-hmm. Scoop it out.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna talk about it on Patreon, but
okay.
I'm getting
You're
rid
gonna
of.
Go see Denise Richards' husband.
I've got it. I heard from a reliable source how to get that full spoon out of me. Then Kathy gives Dorit a softball because it's switched from Kyle and instantly goes to Dorit. Dorit decides to go in on PK. And Kathy at one point says something like, I always got the sense that PK was a very good father. Am I correct in that assumption? Yeah. And Dorit goes, wrong.
I was shocked. I feel like I can barely recall a time when a housewife has said that their husband wasn't a good father. Like, even like Brittany says Jax is a good father. Like, they're always like, say what you want about him, but he's a great dad. And she blew the lid off of that standard.
Yeah, it's one of the worst things you can hear. PK is going to be blowing steam out of his ears, but then she gives the evidence. She's like, he's gone for weeks at a time. He's also on his second family. Not that means anything, but he already did all of this, and then he married Dorit and had 2 kids. So his priorities might be a little, what's that called? I mean, his commitments, he might not be giving his full energy to this new set of kids.
Usually the second family gets all the glory. Like, usually you're a shitty dad the first time, and then your young kids get the best version because you learned. But it sounds like maybe he needs a third time. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of which I would prefer, or what
Martin Scorsese's daughter. He has like a 50-year-old daughter who he never saw, and now he does TikToks with his young daughter like every day of the week.
Please don't get me started on Martin Scorsese's TikTok daughter. Oh my God. Then Kathy is, still going. It's full Kathy variety hour for a while. She goes, well, that's not what I expected you to say. I thought you'd say the exact opposite. And everybody is also stunned that she talked about that. And she goes, how old is PJ? And they go 56. And she goes, now that's interesting. Because when I met PJ, I assumed he was 56 already. It's like, I've never heard someone ever say something like that in my life. You know what I mean?
Well, she tried to talk shit about how Mauricio looks too. And Kyle was like, please don't. Like, she's like, do I have permission to talk shit now? Yeah. And they were all like, oh my God.
Yeah. Bose's reactions to Kathy are consistently so funny. Her reactions the entire Capri dinner are amazing. Her reactions to Erica when Erica is going in, and her reactions to Kathy are great. For that moment, she goes, wow, that was shade. The smoothest shade I've ever heard in my life. Because it's true. I mean, When she met PK 10 years ago or whatever, she thought he was 56. So
yeah.
rough.
Then Dorit goes in saying that he left her a horrible note, a 7-page email, a barrage about finances, that he set an expectation that within a month or two, she would be responsible for the mortgage and all of the expenses within the household. And Erica goes, get a fucking lawyer. Like, she's like, I'm not playing. Like, I've heard enough. Like, get a lawyer right now.
The energy of this Capri dinner completely shifts. Erica instantly is like, I am not going to sit around and bullshit and talk about PK's age anymore or whatever the hell Kathy is doing. She's like, you're my friend, and I think you need to be prepared for when the divorce, comes through. It's an amazing performance from Erica. Not saying acting performance. Like, she fucking kills it in this scene.
She's like, because apparently some custody stuff came up and like what will happen with that if she doesn't do the other thing. And Erica goes, what are you holding on to? And Bose goes, do you think he still wants to be married to you? And Dorit goes, no, I don't. And they're like, okay, well, and she's like, I'm the token idiot wife. Then she goes, we've been married 9.5 years. At 10 years, something called community property comes in, and Erica's like, yep, at 10 years you get half without question, and like permanent spousal support. And so he's trying to like kick you to the curb before it hits 10 years.
Erica goes full-blown lawyer brain after everything that she's dealt with from Tom. Like, she instantly is like, yep, community property law, 10 years, you immediately get half. So PK has 6 months possibly to divorce Dorit before she just instantly gets half. Someone asked the question, doesn't Dorit have more money than PK?
I mean, I think they're both probably fucked. I don't think either of them have very much going for them.
Bose goes, wins 10 years, reiterating, and they both go, Dorit and Erica both go in 6 months. And Bose goes, oh, hell no, no way, no way. She's like stunned that this just got unearthed on camera. And she's also absolutely stunned by how Erica is handling this whole thing. Erica starts to give that speech where she's just like, she's like, you need to stop thinking of him as your friend. He's no longer your friend. He's your adversary. You need to go in. You're playing a different game of poker. And Bose is like, yes, this is fucking awesome. Like, she's having her mind blown by Erica in this scene.
Yeah, Erica's like, I know because I just went through this. I was paralyzed by fear. I waited too long. I regret it. Bose is like, desperation breeds no good strategy. That's what I learned in business. So they're all like, seriously, don't fucking play. And Dorit is like, don't you think I need to be sure that I don't want to go back before I do all this? And Erica's like, honey, he doesn't want you back. Listen to everything you just said. Yeah. Like, the writing's on the wall.
Total tough love time from Erica. It is amazing. This is what Erica is perfect at, giving that advice, that cool, calm advice.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing for like, I hold space for Kyle to be like, our family dynamic is different. We're taking this slow. We're not really sure what we want to do yet. But I'm like, Kyle is positioned for, I mean, maybe it'll get dirty later and I'll look stupid, but like, I think they'll be able to work it out, like, amicably, potentially with just like mediation or something like that. I just feel like that could work for them. But yeah, now that PK's throwing all these like darts, I'm like, yeah, fuck him then. Like, if he's making it very clear he's gonna play dirty, then like, you have every woman in your life telling you how nasty it's about to get, and like, get a lawyer.
Totally. Yeah. The only thing I'm worried about is if this is all fake.
That's what Jimmy said. He was like, I don't believe anything Dorit or PK say.
Because the only thing that is keeping me from fully loving everything that Dorit is saying is that we're no longer seeing PK's side. And I know he filmed with Mauricio, he filmed with her. He just like checked out completely. And then now we're only hearing his side of things from Dorit. I'm like, I believe Dorit 75% of the time, but I know she embellishes and stuff like, so I'm like, are they really at this place, or is Dorit playing up and making the most dramatic shit in the world happen? I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say that I think it's real, but a part of me is like, oh damn, I'll be so disappointed if next season they go, we worked it all out. What letter was I talking about? A 7-page email where he was sending a bunch of demands? Like, they haven't divorced yet, right?
Yeah.
Like they haven't divorced officially, even though it got this bad 6 months ago. So I just want to, for the people who believe that, I just want to bring that to the discussion. But I'm going to just go with the fact that I believe, Dorit, that it is getting this bad with PK, because it's so much more interesting to believe it's real. So
totally.
Yeah.
TBD.
It looks great. This was a huge kick in the ass for Beverly Hills. Is that a good thing?
A kick in the pants?
Huge kick in the pants. A huge
That's, I don't know.
a huge puff of steam. A huge billow. Huge boon. This is a huge boon to the franchise. I was loving it. I was laughing. I was loving Erica. Erica is MVP of this episode. Bose was perfect as that audience surrogate, learning all this shit for the first time, watching what an amazing scene on Beverly Hills looks like and being a part of it. We got those Kathy witticisms or whatever the hell you call that shit that Kathy does on the show.
And the Dory.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And then the Augusta trip was actually fun because the Reba dynamic is really interesting. And watching Garcelle have this very weird dynamic with Reba was shocking to watch. So a great episode of Beverly Hills. And then how about, I don't know, we're almost 2 hours in, maybe Certified Turtle, or do you want to keep blowing steam?
I'll leave it to you.
Damn.
I feel like there's not that much to say about RHONY, but if you need to piss, go piss.
No. You know what? I am going to use the energy of my piss as it rises through my body to propel me forward through RHONY. Is that okay with you?
As it reverses back into your kidneys.
And then I hold the right to blow it out halfway through the discussion, but no.
If there's an emergency, 911.
If there's emergency, let's use the power of piss to get through this segment. Do you want to?
Okay.
So RHONY, this was disappointing to me. Disappointing. Mm-hmm. Because I felt like the way the final chapter was handled, and we'll get into this, we'll go deep into it, detail, but I was bummed out that it was not structured properly, and I felt like Brynn in a way was able to combine the two huge issues that we're dealing with, and everyone ended up feeling bad, and we never really got to properly parse what she did, and it was on the cast members and also Andy to structure it. I understand why Andy took a step back, but ultimately I was disappointed because Brynn could have still had the same redemption if it was handled properly, but it wasn't. It wasn't properly handled. Maybe it needed another part. Maybe Andy needed to be more involved, but ultimately I was let down with the climax of RHONY. So I just want to say that going into it.
Yeah. We can say going in that it is confirmed that Becky is out for next season. She posted that she's focusing on her family and her career, which, I mean, not to get ahead, but she's literally on the reunion for maybe 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think it was disrespectful to even bring her on. It was more a detriment to her to have her on the couch for those 5 minutes because they basically just made fun of her with the edit and with all the other cast members. There's never been a less surprising, obviously, update. I mean, Becca Minkoff made Anne Marie look like Lisa Vanderpump. The worst. No offense to her. She admits, I'm just going to step ahead. She admits that this was just a vehicle for merchandising or branding. So she didn't know what this was. Someone told her that she should be on a reality television show. She had never seen this shit. She didn't know what she was supposed to share and what not to share. She didn't know how to navigate this thing, and just the biggest flop you've ever seen in your life. There's not one moment that was interesting besides her showing that limited edition Wicked merchandise at the Minkoff Studios or whatever the hell that was.
Yeah, it was brutal. So it picks up where it left off. Jessel versus Brynn. Jenna's pissed and telling Brynn to like get her shit together. Brynn is sobbing. She basically is sobbing for most of this second part. She goes, "I'm mortified. I just want to earn back Jessel's friendship. I thought I was just making a cute joke." And everyone's like, "It wasn't cute."
Yeah, they've got the full anti-Bryn energy for the first half. They're like, it wasn't cute at all. That was horrible. Yeah, Bryn's crying. Bryn stops crying during the Minkoff segment. All of a sudden, she gets very matter-of-fact about how horrible Rebecca Minkoff was on the show and all the things that she should have done differently.
Yeah, she's like, finally, someone beneath me.
Yeah, totally. That I can lord over.
Yes.
From the first half, I don't know what, is worth really discussing. They're all just kind of really making sure Jenna wants Bryn to stop rationalizing everything. She just say sorry. Mm-hmm. And Bryn always has an excuse. Like, I actually meant like, oh, it was the best hookup Jessel's ever had, but I said the wrong thing. And Jenna's like, just stop saying that. That's what everybody gets pissed at. You end up digging yourself a hole and adding new scandalous details whenever you try to defend yourself. Yeah. So just stop defending yourself and just apologize. That's basically like the attitude they have towards Bryn and for the first segment of this reunion.
One of the segments is about one other feud between Bryn and Uba, where she implies that Uba is acting like an angry black woman, that like her comment was something like, I don't want you to lose your boyfriend because you're acting that way or whatever, and everyone's super outraged about it. And the funny part is that it immediately spirals into Uba going, because Bryn has to be like, okay, like, I understand that I identify as biracial and as a black woman, but obviously my experience is much different than Uba's as a dark-skinned woman and all of this stuff. And she's sort of like spiraling to like be like, I get it. And Uba's like, I love being black. I've never had a bad experience in my life. I get everything for free. I'm so hot. My life rules. And it's just like, Uba doesn't like have a like political like point of view about it whatsoever. Yeah. Like, she's like, I don't even care that you said that, because like, that's not my experience.
Yeah, and Andy's kind of asking questions. He's like, wait, you get everything for free? And she's like, yeah, I don't know if it's whether I'm black or hot. And Andy's like, whoa, okay, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, like Uba is always like coming from a perspective I never anticipate. Like, I'm like, okay, like, I mean, she's living in her own world.
It's my favorite part of the reunion is Uba's reactions to everything, for sure, until the very end. So then let's get into the Minkoff stuff, I guess. Is there anything to talk about? Basically, we did learn that she said on camera, my brand got hit by COVID. Like, basically COVID, somebody breathed COVID into the Minkoff offices, and they lost 70% of their business. So she says outright, I'm doing this to boost my brand. It's like, that should never be someone's reason for going on one of these shows at all. It is about friendships and your life. It is not about showing off your brand and getting Minkoff back as a household name. So it made me actually respect Bryn more for how she treated Minkoff the entire time, because she's like, you're giving us nothing. All you did was do a shitty prank on the show. You told us you're only here to build your brand. You're not even talking about Scientology in a good way. So it justified Bryn's antagonism towards Minkoff, which I didn't like, because it just came off like bullying, like you said, Bryn just picking on someone who she sees as weaker. But knowing that now, it gives more, in my mind, rationale, for Bryn treating her like that.
If your business is suffering by an advertisement, don't try and get an apple.
Yeah, yep. She goes, it's like showing up to a group project with someone that doesn't do anything. And, that is true. I mean, I've never seen a season like this where I can't think of one moment that I enjoyed or thought was good. If anything, she made it worse by adding the prank into this show. Yeah,
it seems like everyone is, well, mostly Aaron and Bryn are like pretty pissed at her. Aaron, they bring up the hot mic moment, which is kind of like whatever. It's like, she's like, she tried to tell me that what she meant was that Rebecca is nice, but the show is boring. And they cut to Andy. I was like, he's not going to like that. But it was like a lie anyways. And then Aaron is like, well, she's not nice. They bring up that Aaron said she pre-approved asking about how it is being Jewish and Scientologist, and she called it approved language. Like, she was like, is it okay if I ask it like this or whatever? And apparently Aaron was like pissed about it after the fact. And then
I just want to say something about this whole thing. Like, Aaron, I know this to be true. Erin is only doing this because the fan reaction was so like bad towards Rebecca Minkoff. So she's now using this as an opportunity to like wink at the audience and be like, I hate her too.
Yeah.
I think she absolutely sucked on the show. And actually, she was really mean to me. I don't believe any of this shit that Erin's talking about. I think she is it's throwing red meat at the audience. Rebecca Minkoff has screenshots of her reaching out multiple times about the dad and all that prank stuff. Erin was just as complicit in that. I don't care that Rebecca Minkoff was texting. I mean, it's a little weird to talk about approved language and stuff, but I just think that Erin wrote Becca Minkoff off because what the audience reaction was like. Just threw her to the wolves.
I read the little poem meme about death and it was nice.
Yeah, and she goes, "Oh," Erin goes, "Oh yeah, you sent a poem." It's like, yeah,
it was
she sent
sweet. It was nice.
She sent a poem. So and then Becca says she goes she's choosing. What's her name? Becky. I keep saying Becca.
Rebecca, Becky.
Becca. What did Jenna kept calling her Kathy or something, I think. But anyway, she keeps saying like Erin has just chosen to not be my friend now. Like she just at a certain point wrote me off, and I know when it was. It's when all of the reviews were coming in for RHONY as she was watching the season. Erin was like, I'm gonna pretend I hate this person.
Yeah, and they show the text exchange after the prank episode, and Rebecca is like, wow, like really just going to throw me under the bus, even though we sort of devised this plan together or whatever. And Erin's response is, what kind of text is this?
Yeah, she just made her feel foolish like the whole time. Everything that, and Rebecca was completely out of her depth on this show. And so it's not even worth parsing. They get into a little bit of the Scientology stuff. A reader or a viewer said, how the hell did you not think you were going to have to talk about Scientology when you're a outspoken Scientologist? And she goes, this was not the forum for me, which I agree with. She was like, I knew when someone comes in going, so what the hell is that Scientology shit all about? Like the way Brynn was asking her, she was like, you all were treating it like clickbait. And I knew that. And if I had multiple hours to talk about it, I would have. And then Andy goes, well, you did have multiple hours. And I was like, okay, so Rebecca Minkoff throughout filming, there'd be multiple scenes where she continues to talk about the evolution of her Scientology journey. That would never happen. She has to get it out in 5 minutes.
The thing is, it's like an impossible thing to talk about because you have a person who, she's like, it's a world recognized religion. Calling it a cult is hate speech. You would never talk about any other religion, whether it be like Muslim, Christianity, whatever. You would never talk about their religions that way, which is true. But
some people do.
But it would be a big deal if you did on camera. If you were like, "What's with Judaism?"
well, atheists say that all religions are cults. I mean,
sure, but like if they were talking to Uba and they were like, why do you keep praising Allah? Like, what the hell is the deal with your fucking religion?
Like, I see now. Yeah, yes. It's you would never say
they can treat it with less respect because people think it's a joke.
Right. Scientology has the kooky lens already, so it's easy to push back on.
But she doesn't see it that way, so you're never gonna have the same. Like, Bravo hired her in part because of that element, because it's
totally
that when you heard that they cast a Scientologist, you perk up. You're like, that's interesting,
Yeah.
But it's actually not. It's worthless because it's impossible to talk about. She's defensive about something that she finds to be important and helpful. She feels disrespected by the cast.
I already said this, but I think if Rebecca Minkoff wanted to actually be an evangelist for Scientology, that would have been a 10 out of 10 season. If she was like, do you want to know? Let's go to a center right now. That's one in New York. Let's read Dianetics. And then Jessel's like, ooh, Dianetics. Oh my God. So we all have these hidden triggers that when the e-meter registers, like it's something deep within me. And then it keeps progressing more and more. She goes, let's do a trip to Clearwater. Let's go to the celebrity center there. I would have been like, hell yeah, advertise the shit out of this. I want to get deep into what you believe.
Instead of doing like a sound bath, they do like an e-reader session. But it was a little awkward because you could tell she was looking for a lifeline. Because the people that weren't speaking up were like kind of laughing under their breath because like Jenna's like, I think Scientology is evil, like she already said that. So everyone's like, you're on your own with this one. And then Rebecca's like, my other religion is under attack. Aaron, Andy, you know how it feels. And Andy's like, he's like, I'm not throwing you a bone for Scientology. Like he was like,
No.
goodbye, Kyle.
Yeah, they do not give Rebecca anything here. It kind of ends. I don't know if there's anything else to say, but
she's forced to even apologize for the prank because it was insensitive to the infertile.
Yeah, and then Andy goes, okay, does anybody have anything that they want to discuss with Rebecca here before she gets kicked to the curb? And absolutely no one says anything, and they keep the 10-second edit of silence. Andy gives this sort of awkward smile where he goes, oh boy, all right, well that was it, quick and easy. Or what does he say? He goes, nice and easy, and she goes, quick and dirty. And then they give her the horrible, disgraceful edit where she goes, oh, what do I do? Do I leave here? Or what happens?
Do I take my mic off?
And he's like, Rebecca wants to know what the fuck she's supposed to do now. I don't know. She's just sitting here on the couch like a bump on a log. And she goes, I just don't know if I should take my mic off or not. And then Jessel's going, can I get a Diet Coke, love? And everybody's like, a little touch up here. And no one is even thinking that Rebecca's
like,
a human anymore.
And they're like, anyway.
And then Sai says what everybody's thinking. She goes, that was awkward.
Yeah, awful.
Yeah.
I literally like couldn't believe how short it was.
Yeah.
It was like shorter than any husband has ever been given. Like,
yeah. Then I was surprised. I didn't know if part 2 was the end. I don't know. I missed the memo, but part 2 is definitely the end because then they do the full Puerto Rico package. They give us everything. They give us the beach. They give us the fighting about Uba versus Bryn, and then they finally give the accusation and the Bryn revelation. And he goes, "Let's pick this through piece by piece. Let's start with the beaches of Puerto Rico.
Let's talk about how the inlet is different than the ocean, and how she was saying that the inlet was the dirty water, not the ocean. They just had to explain to her yet again what they meant. They already explained like that they were like PR, like Puerto Rico doesn't need bad PR. We're basically like doing like a travel log endorsement for Puerto Rico by going here. Just don't say that it's disgusting. And she just like couldn't get it through her mind because she's like, I go all the time. And I'm like, you know what they mean.
Yeah.
But she like didn't.
I don't know. I'm fine with her acknowledging that. I mean, I'm fine with her just telling the truth of her experience at that beach, saying that I saw a dead fish, I saw a dead bird, I didn't want to touch this. She calls it sewage water. The Raquel says it's an inlet. She goes, I am not going to take it back. The only thing I'm going to apologize for is ruining your childhood memory. But everyone was thinking that I'm just the only one who said it. Yeah. And then they kind of.
She also said that the host should not take the master bedroom, which I was like, I thought that is the rule.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I give her points out for that. And also Raquel said, I shared with Jenna. Like, of course we should get that bedroom. Yeah, they're kind of, Andy doesn't really want to talk about this. You can tell he wants to like push it forward. But yeah, then Uba does say like, I don't hate Puerto Rico. Like, I love it there. I wasn't trying to give a travel advisory to not go to one of the beaches. I was just sharing my opinion. But I understand why people don't like that. So I'll just move on.
And then it gets into sort of like a version of that where Andy is saying, you know, I don't remember if it was a fan question or whatever, but they're saying like your friends feel like they have to censor themselves because you get so pissed off and reactionary that like it's hard to deal with. And she goes, sorry that my authenticity makes people uncomfortable. She goes, people should censor themselves to not piss me off. And Andy's like, that's not what friendship is. Like, he's like, what's wrong with you? Like, Andy keeps being like, what do you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but I was kind of thinking it in context of like with Bryn. It's like, if you want to start shit with me, I don't give a shit that you're scared of me. I'm gonna have a powerful comeback that's gonna knock you back on your ass. Like,
yeah, I mean, Bryn is, you know, she's always trying to poke the bear, but like someone like Raquel, like they were talking about like the Puerto Rico stuff, like she like pops off if you ever question the intent of what she said, and like. She's just hard to talk to.
Yeah. I enjoy Uba, you know, more, I think. So I like give her a lot of deference on all of this stuff. But I understand what you mean.
And then we get Aaron still trying to get out of being part of that Jessel Pavitt conversation. She's like, I tried to stop it at a certain point. They're like, whatever, bitch.
Right. Yeah.
We get, I guess what happens then? Oh, Uba's talking about the difference between saying Brynn sucked a dick versus that she slept with someone to get this job.
Yeah, Uba doesn't do a good job of clarifying what the difference is. She goes, if I had I'll just say it. She goes, if I had a dick, you could suck that. And Andy goes, what the hell are you talking about? He's so confused. And she goes, don't look confused. You know what I'm talking about. And it's like, it's clear that no one does. Yeah. This is now, they're kind of getting into the accusation now, right?
Yeah.
So immediately Andy says, Brynn, just so you know, we all believe you 100%. So as we go through this, just know we all support you. And this is where I feel like, not unfortunately, it just was too hard for them at this reunion to untangle these two things. Mm-hmm. And I'm not necessarily even saying that they should be untangled, but for us as the audience, what we thought was so explosive was the lie to slander Uba.
Yeah.
And what everyone has to always consider, and even me, in terms of the salaciousness or the entertainment, we have to reckon with the horrible reality of what happened to Brynn. Yeah. And I think at a certain point, they just meld together. And Brynn does a very good job of keeping the message on what she's talking about to where it devolves and people just have to rally around Brynn. Right. No matter what, which I'm not even necessarily saying I disagree with, but from an entertainment standpoint, I did want more focus on what I thought was the most shocking thing I'd ever seen on a right. On a franchise before.
Yeah. You could tell, like, Brynn kept trying to circle it back to being
yes.
like, no one's supporting me, or like,
yeah.
why am I being blamed? And everyone, you could tell the second she started to tip that way, like Jenna and everyone started to be like, no.
Yes.
Like, we were so in your court, like 100%. Like, we were so upset for you. But I know what she means. Like, when I watched it originally, I was like, it felt dirty that the drama was happening on top of the new information. So like when Uba charged down the hall at her, whatever, calling her like a lying bitch or whatever, I was like, I get why she's outraged, but it feels wrong to be like us all to be like pissed off at like an assault victim.
You psycho bitch. Like that in that context, you're like, Uba just learned it's not funny. She just learned for the first time. It's shocking. That's why I'm laughing. She learned for the first time, and that was her reaction. But unfortunately, it's because the shock was that she had just been implicated on camera. We know what it is that made Uba spiral. Andy goes, can you tell me when you told Uba, to Brynn. Brynn says the exact same thing we heard in the confessional. I had word vomit. I was crying. I was screaming. I said, my life is so horrible. All this shit keeps happening to me. I thought someone had unfortunately ended their life. And so in a big series of things, I said, I'm going to say the word. Did we get flagged? I was sexually assaulted. Then Brynn says, but I immediately, in that room, I said, but in her defense, I don't think she remembered. Immediately, everyone pushes back, which I was like, they're telling the reality of the scene. I don't know what Brynn remembers. She just watched the footage. She didn't remember it from the time that it actually happened, but she did not do that in the moment. Yeah. So Aaron goes, no, you didn't. Jessica goes, no, you didn't. You didn't say that then, like at all. No, that did not happen. So they immediately correct the record in real time of Brynn's version, which I thought was worthwhile because I want to hear the truth of how this, evolved.
Yeah. Uba also says that the conversation was a FaceTime. So like, I don't know, that just lends a visual of that, like maybe that would give even more, you would think she would have heard it if it was said. And then,
and I want to say one thing that when they go, you didn't say that, like, no, you didn't. Brynn goes, be careful, like what you're saying. And she does this multiple times. She's warning them that the way she's taking all of these comments is that you're not in solidarity with me after I shared something. So it does immediately cut them off by being like, oh yeah, I am possibly saying something that is affecting Brynn in a time of trauma or post-trauma. You know what I mean?
She also said something here that felt untrue to me, where she goes, once I told them about the Uba thing, she goes, no one like gave me a hug. They were like, so who was it? How rich was he? And everyone was like, no fucking way. Like, absolutely not.
So that was what the most surprising thing to me is that as Brynn is telling the story, she adds new horrible details, dirt, to an already salacious, horrible accusation, now accusing all of the cast members of not caring about it in the moment and asking how rich the guy was who sexually assaulted her. I could not believe that that wasn't an immediate timeout. Stop everything. We are not letting that go out. But it gets completely bungled because there's so much back and forth. And Andy is not a referee in this moment because he's letting them all. He doesn't want to affect the conversation, which I understand. But there were moments where he needed to clarify what the different sides were talking about. And they let Brynn get away with a huge new lie accusation in the moment that they were all not sympathetic. And that's when they all correct the record. Like you just said, they go, no one did that. No, we didn't. I couldn't eat. I could barely function. We were so pissed at Uba until we heard, what really happened.
Yeah. Jenna says, accusing Uba without being 100% sure was careless, and Brynn is like sobbing, and she goes, just because I don't make a scene and run to bathrooms and throw up, you guys are like, like checking my every word. And I'm like, well, when the words are like accusing someone of like like bullying you after finding out that you were
and then Brynn is really set on the fact that this revelation overshadows everything. And then, like you said, you're nitpicking this one thing. In her mind, it's like, how is this even a part of the discussion? Because for the viewers and for the cast members, it was so huge. But in Brynn's world, it's like a fumble of the mouth that she let go on for maybe 30 minutes while she was drunk. So in a way, I can kind of see it, even though, overall, the problem is that just Brynn constantly lies almost like she breathes, and she has like a different reality in her head that she believes. Mm-hmm. And then this example of her changing the narrative a little bit is an example of it. Just no matter how much support you have for her.
There's something, I can't quite articulate it, but when she started saying that, it was so clear to me that she was lying. Yeah. I think she has like a sort of a tell or something where it's like her demeanor changes a little bit, and she sort of is very like flippant about like just like listing something off, or like sort of like it almost looks like she's like dreaming it up in the moment, where you're like, wait.
Yeah, totally. And at this point, like they started to like explain everything to Brynn. They were like, no, we're talking about like the accusation, and like we're talking about, and I was just thinking like the way they're explaining things to Brynn. I think I said this last week. Brynn knows exactly what happened. She's not stupid. Yeah. She knows what she said. She knows what she did. She knows that quite possibly Uba didn't hear. Like they're kind of like leading her through it, and Brynn is letting them tell her what's happening. It's like, she knows. She saw it. She saw the footage. You don't need to explain. She's trying to shape the narrative in a way to, get out of the accusation that she made, against Uba and bring it back to, what it is actually about. Yeah.
She sort of doubles down. She goes, well, when I say something to someone, I assume that they know that I said it. Yeah. So you're like, do you think that she like should have heard what you said?
Yeah, I guess at that moment, she did. I guess that's why she didn't immediately rectify it in the real timeline. But the only reason that it ever got to Uba, remember, was that Jessel had to tell Uba what she had said once cameras were down. So we know that Brynn didn't correct the record in real time.
Right. And Uba's like, I think Andy asked her if she remembers the call, and she's like, I remember it very clearly, but I don't remember that part. And she's like crying, she's saying that like, I was asking you, like, remind me when you told me that, like, I would remember something like that. And she's like, I never knew. And then Brynn goes, well, you try to run down the hall and grab me. Like she tries to enter a new like I'm like, no, like you don't get to open up a new fight about this.
And it's what Jenna was talking about. It's like the more Bryn talks, she ends up adding new details that might not be possibly true, or then accusing Uba of being violent. And that's when Uba does the "I heard what you texted her," which they used 100 times in the trailers. I heard because it made it seem like Uba and Bryn were going to have this showdown, but it's actually an isolated event. She never has that anger towards Bryn again. But she said that Bryn locked her door and texted like, "I'm scared of Uba. She just violently threatened me." And then that makes sense why they called security. And now that puzzle piece falls into line. That's why they called security and got Uba a hotel. I wasn't exactly sure how that Bryn accused Uba of being violent or whatever. Yeah. That's how that happened.
Which they show the clip and like she is like super worked up and but it doesn't look like she touched her, but you know, probably better that they don't sleep in the same house. Sai seems to be the only one that is actually remaining pissed and not willing to like throw Bryn a bone. Yeah. She goes, "You weaponized your experience for the downfall of a friend. Like that is fucked up." And Bryn goes, "Watch your language."
Yeah. And Sai is saying the line. Like that's it. Like that's what they're all trying to talk about. Yes. That is it. But then it starts to get conflated, and it's hard for them to properly articulate how wrong this is without, while also having sympathy for the horrible reality of what happened to Bryn.
Yeah.
And it loses
she starts to implode, and she goes, she's crying, and she goes, "This is becoming too much." Like, you can tell she's, like, can't really, like, handle it. Like, she's, like, getting too upset. And then Uba is like, "I forgive you, but we will never go back. I want nothing to do with you. We're done. I want to go back to not even knowing who the fuck you are."
Yeah.
And then Bryn, you know, turns it around to herself again. She goes, "After all of this, no one reached out to me." And they're like, "Nope." Like, Aaron's like, "I reached out to you like every single day." Jenna's like, Aaron's like, "You blocked me." Jenna's like, "I reached out and you were very shut down. You did not want to talk about this." And she goes, "Yeah, Jenna, sometimes people shut down." And I'm like, well, then you can't accuse them of not trying.
Yeah. You got caught in an embellishment just right then. And then you see how Bryn deals when she's busted. She just...
It's like psychosis. Like, it's like... Yeah. Like... She's like throwing spaghetti at the wall to be like, "Can I get away with this accusation?" And they're like, "No, you can't, because I'm sitting right here this time."
Yeah. Yeah. What's that called? It's like, it's like deflection, I guess, or trying to
But it's weird to do it again and again and again and just like get caught every single time.
Yeah, a part of me was just like, does Bryn have an accurate reflection of reality when she's bringing stuff up? Because it's like she has a fully different narrative of what happened in her mind than the actual truth. I mean, you could argue that she does maybe believe that no one reached out, but then she just like gets called out with evidence and proof in real time.
This is where, again, she's saying like, while I'm going through like the worst shit anyone could ever go through, everyone's judging every little thing I say. And Andy goes, "Do you think anyone here doubts what happened to you?" And she says, "I don't know."
Yeah.
And she's like, "I would really love if everyone stopped lecturing me."
Yeah, and they're a little aghast that she would ever make the accusation that they might not believe what happened to her. Like, you know, they're shocked that she would say that she doesn't know. But she's saying, because of all of your reactions here today, I can't believe that any of you would ever treat someone who was the victim of something like this how you are treating us today. And that kind of breaks them all. Like, you know what I mean? It
like,
really
does. What are you supposed to say to that? And then it kind of just like devolves. Like, now they ask like, she goes about Uba. She goes, "Did she know? Of course not. I know that she would kill the guy that did this to me." And Uba comes over and gives her a hug, says, "I'm sorry." Uba whispers, "You should apologize to the girls. They love you." Bryn says, "No, they don't." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Did Uba know? Of course not." But literally like 5 minutes ago, she goes, "When I tell someone something, I expect that they heard me," or whatever she said.
Yeah. But then I guess her rationalization is that when she thinks about the conversation in which she told Uba that, she could imagine a world where someone might not have clocked it. It's just, the horrible thing is that she made that accusation on camera without fully knowing, you know, what it was. Yeah. But no one expected Uba to go and hug Bryn. It was shocking to me as well. Yeah. Just going into this, I thought that like Uba said, you're dead to me. I will never talk to you again. But
Yeah.
Uba kind of sympathizes with Brynn, says, I forgive you. Sai and Aaron are kind of looking at each other and they're like, whoa, I cannot believe Uba hugged her. Sai looks a little bit like upset in a way. She's like, oh, that's really nice. But you can tell that at this point now they're all left holding the sort of bag with their hatred towards Brynn, because why are they going to get mad if Uba is not mad anymore? And then they have to start thinking how the audience is going to react to this. You know what I mean? So it completely changes the energy and the dynamic for the rest of it.
Uba like downgrades to saying, it's going to take me a long time to forgive you or whatever. And they're, they have a very nice conversation, but Uba says again, you should apologize to the girls. Brynn is sobbing. She's like, I'm so tired. And then Raquel goes up to her in the dressing room and she apologizes that Brynn felt ganged up on or whatever. She was like, I never want you to think that we don't sympathize or whatever. And there's sort of like a subtle thing where Brynn goes, this feels like it's like hitting home for you, and Raquel goes, it does, and she's like, okay, so you get it. So it's sort of like a quiet acknowledgement of like me too kind of.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And they all, once they're left, once they leave the stage where Brynn and Uba are there, they all do start to say, man, I'm starting to feel really bad for her. Like, I really do think that we should support her. Jenna's like, hurt people. Like, Brynn really won the room in a way, like she was able to get their sympathy by the end of this thing. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think I think they all like understand that regardless of whatever twisted stuff happened off of the back of that horrible event, I think that for the most part they're all like still terrified of what she's capable of.
Yeah, I think so too. I really felt that with Uba. I felt like there was a lack of light as Uba was talking to Brynn. I felt like Uba was actually still treating Brynn like she was dead to her, but she knew that to have the moral high ground, this was an amazing thing to do, is just give forgiveness to Brynn. But I do not think that she will ever trust her again and will treat her as a friend. I'm pretty sure.
And Sai definitely not. She tries to be nice because at the end when they're all like hugging and stuff, Brynn tries to be like, we're all like, we can move past this, right? She goes, I miss you. Like, I miss like us doing funny shit. Like, I miss your kids. And Sai's like, you got like some work to do. And she's like, you can come see my kids, but you can tell she's like, fuck you.
She's kind of like, we've got some stuff to talk about. So I have to ask, so it seemed very definitive at the end. I mean, she got forgiveness from Uba. Jenna and Raquel rally around her. I'm sure Aaron and Sai are a little skeptical, but they're kind of going with the group on being like, let's just be supportive of Brynn. Like, it's fucked up what she did, but she was in a traumatic moment, and so we have to give her grace. But then the Rolling Stone thing comes out, which I assume was after the reunion was filmed, and then also Aaron's comment being like, you are not treated like a sister. We haven't talked in months. I cannot believe the audacity that you still have this thing. How was that post reunion? Like, how did they devolve again? Do you know what I'm talking about? The timeline. If the reunion was filmed months ago, that just came out. And I'm wondering how Aaron got back to the place where she's mad at Brynn again, because it seemed like they had maybe moved forward.
Right. Did you also notice that Jenna was having like champagne or something, and they were like, what is that? And she was like, it's ginger ale. And they were like, this is supposed to be a dry set. And I was like, why?
Yeah, I didn't know. I was so confused. I thought it was actually ginger ale, and then I found out that it was champagne, but they were just saying, that it was ginger ale so that they could keep it dry. But yeah, I have no clue why. Maybe that there's such a stigma now on Bravo that they all are accused of getting drunk, that they want reunions to be alcohol-less for a little bit of time.
Or maybe it was like the venue or something. It was weird. So then instead of doing like a toast, they had the pavlova, which Andy said it was Naomi Watts's famous Pavlova. Am I missing something? Did they talk about that before?
Yeah,
How is it connected to Naomi Watts?
I had the same question. I go, what the hell is this? And what does this have to do with the season we watched? But apparently in one of the episodes, Jenna Lyons recreated that pavlova cake. And that's the cake that had a bunch of fake cockroaches in it, one of their shittier pranks.
Was she referencing Naomi Watts at that time?
I think so. It must be like the Tom Cruise coconut cake. This is like the Naomi Watts pavlova cake. But I did not remember that. It's one of those things that RHONY does where they're like, remember this callback? It's like, no one does.
No, we don't.
And that leads to me to my last question before we close the book on RHONY. Does in finale and a reunion that are, I would say, probably objectively entertaining in a way, I mean, definitely good, on par with some great moments of Bravo, for 13 episodes that were absolute dog shit, where you and I were bored out of our minds, rolling our eyes back in our head. One of the worst seasons in Bravo history then picks up a little bit of steam for the last two, has a good reunion because it's built off the end. What do we do? Does Bravo push forward and be like, well, damn, we hit something at the end here? They now have this thing that bonds them, sort of like a Jen Shaw after season 2 of Salt Lake City. They now have true friendship, which is what franchises get as a great attribute of seasons that go on. Once the cast just have to keep interacting with each other, that's how you form those bonds. So I'm wondering if now maybe RHONY got over the hump, because in all honesty, I enjoy Uba. I enjoy Jessel. I really liked Sai 10 times more than I liked her last season. I think Raquel is a good addition. Erin annoys me, but I see merit sometimes. Brynn, that's Bravo's decision. I don't even want to speculate. But I could see a path forward, maybe with a couple shifts. So I wonder... I don't know. I'm just like, can a franchise get away with having a great end and it justifies their longevity for the future? Because if you would have asked us by episode 10, we would have said, this thing is done. Like, absolutely. Like, this is over.
Yeah. I wonder if Uba, friend of, because she lives in Connecticut, Brynn out because no one talks to her anymore.
It would be wild to fire Brynn at this point. I was thinking about it. I was watching. You think
it would be like she was getting punished?
Yeah. I absolutely do not think. I think that ultimately she was not in the place with the cast that I thought she would be at the end of this. And if they can move forward with her, I don't think Raquel and Jenna are going to be the ones saying, no, Brynn can't come on. She's too much of a liability. And even
we
Uba
saw she wasn't on Bose's birthday card.
Yeah, so that's a huge question. Like, what happened? It seems like you all rallied around Brynn. Something happened in the month, but
I don't know. I think there's something different between making sure that she knows that they're not ganging up on her about her assault and just being like, just so you know, to be clear on that, and then having to hang out with her like a month later.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they tried to isolate those incidents and prove that they weren't talking about that and that they were actually chastising her for this other thing, and it didn't work. They ended up rallying around her, being like, the moment that happened with Uba was because of the trauma she dealt with, so it justifies her doing that. So I just don't know. I mean, the future of RHONY is I've just never seen a franchise that like got really good right at the end and it kind of justified its existence, because I don't want that to be the bar that Bravo sets where you can just have the worst season of your life and then kill it with the finale. Yeah,
I know. It's a tall order. As always, I never envy their job. It's horrible. Yeah. It's so hard. But I don't know. But I agree. I think that if anything, maybe a handful of them are galvanized by this experience and they'd have more chemistry than before. But that doesn't mean that they're good on TV.
I agree. It doesn't necessarily mean that, because then when they were showing flashbacks to the season, I was like, oh my God, that was a horrible moment. The fact that the pube stuff had to be brought up at the reunion for 3 minutes, I was like, whoa, damn, we are in the doldrums of a season here if you're having to talk about that very bad moment. So I don't know what they're going to do, but
saw that Erin is stressed about the tariffs because of her mezcal.
Oh my God. She is going to be hit the hardest. I mean, I'm so sorry, Erin. We'll be thinking of her as she goes through that. Damn, I mean, we went through Potomac, 2 episodes, Beverly Hills, feels like it's a different day,
I know.
2 hours and 35 minutes. I hope we did everything justice. Do you think we did? We did okay?
I think so. I think, well, no. I was going to say, I feel like the schedule is chilling out, but whenever it chills out, it will rear its head again. So plenty to talk about moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. We got 2. I'm excited about the reunion of Potomac coming up, probably 2 parts for that. We're getting into the summer house season. A lot of stuff is going to end. Salt Lake City is going to end very soon.
Yeah.
So it's a full shuffling of the deck, but I think you and I are just going to be busy as hell still. So that's great. Yeah. All right. Well, good. I'll just say at the end of this thing, this turtle time, it's longer than Amy and I have gone in months. But if you say, oh my gosh, I can't get enough of this. I wish it was even longer. And I heard more of Riley and Amy talking with all of these takes and everything. We have a Patreon, where you pay $5 a month and you become a Villa Rosa VIP. And with that Patreon and that $5 a month, you get access to an entire archive of us recapping Vanderpump Rules from the very beginning, from season 1, episode 1. And we are now like season 6, episode 6 or something.
Yeah.
We're ripping through Vanderpump Rules. We're at Jax cheating on Brittany with Faith, Tom Schwartz cheating on Katie by making out with someone, blackout drunk, he doesn't even remember. It is so good. And so we get to a place where we're just completely Vanderpump Rules focused, which I think is very fun.
Yes, it makes me feel like we have something to look forward to still.
Yes. Totally. Yeah. And then the last thing is that if you've been saying, oh my gosh, I like Turtle Time, I listen to it, but I just don't ever want to give it a review because that takes too much time. Amy and I would love you forever if you went to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever the hell you can review a podcast and say, hey, I like this thing, and give us a review. That would mean a lot to us.
Yes, please. Help our business because Beyonce is going on tour and I need money.
She is, for Cowboy Carter?
That's right.
Oh my God. I'm trying to imagine people in cowboy hats, boots. Oh my God. All right. Get Amy some money. Give Riley some money. All right. Well, we love you guys. We'll see you soon. And we'll be back whenever the hell Turtle Time has another episode.
See ya.
Bye.